Very good. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Wednesday, March 11th, and this is the unique time and place for day one of the regularly scheduled Nevada Gaming Control Board meeting for the month of March 2026. Before we get started, I would like to ask everyone to please silence their cell phones. Thank you. May I ask that you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Madam Secretary, has our agenda been posted in accordance with Nevada's open meeting law?
Yes, it has.
Thank you. Today we will be covering non-restricted items 1 through 13 and restricted items 1 through 13 as noted on our March agenda. So with that, Madam Secretary, let's please proceed with public comments.
This item is placed on the agenda to give the public an opportunity to comment on gaming-related matters. Anyone wishing to address the board may do so at this time. Comments by each person are limited to 3 minutes as a reasonable time, place, and manner restriction. If board members ask questions of the speaker, the time needed to address those questions will not count against the speaker's 3-minute time period. If speakers have any handouts or written copies of verbal comments to provide for the record, please hand them to the enforcement agent in the room.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Pursuant to state open meeting law, matters brought to the attention of the board during public comment cannot be acted upon. However, we are happy to hear comments from the public as well as my fellow board members during this public comment section of our agenda. So with that, let's first go to Carson City. If there's anyone wishing to make a public comment in Carson City, please step forward to the podium. Seeing none, is there anyone in Las Vegas who wishes to make a public comment? Please step forward and spell and state your name for the record.
Good afternoon. Ira Duyanen for the Culinary Union, Duyanen. Today, we submit for the record an administrative law judge's order setting hearing dates through March for one of the largest labor law enforcement actions in U.S. history. These hearings are ongoing, and Red Rock Resorts is currently presenting its defense in the case. The federal government rested its case last December. You'll see from the judge's order that hearings should be ongoing this week, but Red Rock Resorts did not have enough witnesses available, and so the hearings this week were canceled. It will finish its case during the week of March 24th. We urge a representative of the Gaming Control Board attend one of the hearings during the week of March 24th if they have not already. In all candor, we are not impressed with the defense that Red Rock Resorts is putting up. We are confident in the strength of the government's case, and we believe that the NLRB will ultimately rule in our favor. And in our estimation, winning in this case could result in a sizable financial liability owed by Red Rock to the workers whose rights it is found to have violated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please give your commentary to the agent. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to make a public comment at this time? Please state your name for the record.
Jennifer Hanson. Do you want me to spell it?
Please.
JenniferHanson.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Hanson. I work for Station Casinos as a banquet server. I started at Red Rock Casino Resort in November 2006 as an on-call server. I spent 10 years working my way to the top of the A-list. I was laid off May of 2020. My daughter and my son-in-law were also fired by Station Casinos on the same day, and it happened to be the day that they brought their brand new baby home from the hospital. Their first child into their house they had just bought, and we had to try and keep it from my daughter who had just given birth that all 3 of us had lost our jobs. Shortly thereafter, they unfortunately lost their house and had to move in with me, and then had to move to Colorado to find work elsewhere since they never got called back to any station's property. I was rehired by Red Rock in July of 2021. To add insult to injury, I had to go into the office and pull my name out of a hat to determine my seniority on the C list position. I am now number 46 on the list, which is worse than when I was first hired there. Today, I want to tell you that I'm fighting to get back what I had. With a union contract, others like me and their family will not suffer from the lack of job security, nor will they be forced to give up their seniority. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please hand the statement to the agent to your left,
You want me to turn that off?
please. Thank you very much. Okay. Is there anybody else here wishing to make a public comment at this time? Seeing none, this will close our public comment section of today's meeting. Madam Secretary, the next item on our agenda is the approval of the prior month's disposition.
Pursuant to NRS 241.035, this item is the consideration of the approval of the Nevada Gaming Control Board disposition for February 2026.
Thank you very much. We have all had the opportunity to review the disposition, so therefore would either of my colleagues care to make a motion?
Yes, Chairman, I move to approve the Nevada Gaming Control Board disposition for February 2026.
Thank you, Member Sandal. Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sandal?
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer?
Aye. Thank you. The motion passes. We are now going to start the matters on our non-restricted consent agenda. The board's investigation agents have worked up very detailed files on each of these agenda items, and reports have been submitted to the board members. No areas of interest or concern were uncovered during the investigations, and because I'm not aware of any questions or issues with any of these items, appearances by the respective applicants were waived for this meeting. Madam Secretary, please read into the record the items on today's non-restricted consent agenda.
Non-restricted number 5 is the application of Red Rock Resorts, Inc. for amendment to order of registration. It is also the applications of SCT Park Highlands LLC doing business as 76 Tavern Park Highlands and SCT Fort Apache and Gomer LLC doing business as 76 Tavern Fort Apache for a restricted gaming license. Lastly, you have the applications of SCT Holdco LLC, Jeffrey Welch, and Stephen Cootie for licensure as a member, manager, officer, and/or key executive, as noted on the agenda. Non-restricted number 7 is the application of Century Casinos, Inc. for a continuous or delayed public offering. Non-restricted number 12 is the application of William Hill, Nevada 1, doing business as William Hill Race and Sportsbook, doing business at Verdi Grill House, Racebook, and Sports Pool, doing business as Verdi Grill House and Casino for a non-restricted gaming license, Racebook, and Sports Pool. It is also the application of PNK Reno LLC, doing business as Verdi Grill House and Casino to receive a percentage of gaming revenue from the Racebook and Sports Pool operated by William Hill Race and Sportsbook, doing business at Verdi Grill House for Racebook and Sports Pool. Non-restricted number 13 is the application of Fifth Street Gaming LLC, doing business at Western Hotel and Casino for a non-restricted gaming license, slot machines only.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Are there any discussions as to any of these items?
None by me.
No.
Seeing none, would either of my colleagues care to make a motion?
Yes, Chairman Dreitzer, I move to recommend approval of non-restricted agenda items number 5, 7, 12, and 13 on the non-restricted consent agenda as read into the record by Madam Secretary Rupert and pursuant to the following conditions. For non-restricted agenda item number 5, the approval, conditions, and draft orders as noted as follows. Non-restricted agenda item number 5, the approval of non-restricted number 5 is pursuant to the 15th revised order of registration, draft number 2, dated March 5th, 2026. For non-restricted agenda item number 7, the approval of the item is pursuant to the shelf order, draft number 1, dated February 23rd, 2026. For non-restricted number 12, the approval is pursuant to the following conditions. Number 1, any change in any agreement or the creation of any new agreement between William Hill, Nevada 1 and the licensed location must be reported to the board within 30 days of such change. Number 2, the licensee must comply with Nevada Gaming Commission Regulation 6.090 as it relates to the submission of an adequate internal control system and compliance with the minimum internal control standards for a computerized race book and sports pool. Number 3, prior to the commencement of computerized racebook and sports pool and or pari-mutuel wagering pool operations, an executed reserve agreement must be received and approved by the Nevada Gaming Control Board Audit Division pursuant to Nevada Gaming Control Board Regulations 5.225 and Regulation 22.040. Last, prior administrative approval by the Nevada Gaming Control Board Chair or the Chair's designee is required for William Hill, Nevada 1 to convert a location from a kiosk-only operation to a manned satellite operation with or without a kiosk, or from a manned satellite operation with or without a kiosk to a kiosk-only operation. If any licensed location utilizes both a manned satellite operation and a kiosk, prior administrative approval of the Nevada Gaming Control Board Chair or the Chair's designee is required prior to closing for a period in excess of 180 days and reopening thereafter either the manned satellite operation or the kiosk. Last, for non-restricted agenda item number 13, the approval is pursuant to the following condition. The location is limited to the operation of slot machines for 24 hours. That's all.
Thank you very much. Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sandal?
Aye.
Chairman Drayton?
Aye. The motion passes. Madam Secretary, non-restricted items number 1 and 2 were removed from today's agenda, so please read into the record non-restricted item number 3.
Non-restricted number 3 are the applications of MGM Resorts International and Mandalay Resort Group for amendment to order of registration and to pledge membership interest as noted on the agenda. You also have the applications of City Center Land LLC and Mirage Resorts LLC to pledge membership interest as noted on the agenda. Lastly, you have the application of Park MGM LLC doing business as Park MGM for licensure to operate gaming salons.
Good morning, Mr. McGinnis.
Good afternoon,
afternoon,
Chair
Jim.
Dreitzer.
Thank you.
Member Assad, Member Sandal, Madam Secretary, for the record, Sean McGinnis with Greenberg Traurig on behalf of MGM Resorts International. And Chandler, you want to do your?
My name is Chandler Pohl, Vice President and Legal Counsel for MGM Resorts International.
If it's acceptable to you, I thought I would cover the pledge aspect of the applications first, and then we can turn it over to the gaming salon piece because Chandler pretty much handled that. Is that acceptable order?
Yes, but one just slight clarification. What we'll do is you can present the issue number 1 as you indicated, and then we'll invite myself and other board members to ask questions. And once we're finished with that round of questioning, then we'll turn to the salon matter.
Perfect. That works.
Very good. Please proceed.
Okay, well, the application in front of you is essentially, it is a financing agreement that MGM entered into in October of last year with Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation. It's a transaction that was in Japanese yen that translates to US dollars. At the moment, the balance as of December 31st is $375 million. This correlates and relates to an earlier financing that MGM had with Bank of America that still remains in place, that dates from late 2021. And we came before the board and the commission about 4 years ago for the pledge approvals for that. And so these same pledges that are on the agenda today were on the agenda for the Bank of America, and they were approved and granted by the commission. This transaction with this bank is they took essentially the loan documents for the SMTC loan are essentially the same loan documents as Bank of America loan documents. Likewise, the pledge agreement is essentially the same. So and there's a new intercreditor agreement that sort of wed together the Bank of America financing and the SMTC and the SMTU financing. And they share in the collateral on a pari passu basis, on an equal basis together. So the goal is that they both are equally situated. So there's not a Class A lender and a Class B lender. They are together. And that's why you see in the order of registration in the pledge approval section and working with Deputy Chief Crowley, that's why you see it's just added in the additional, pledge administrative agent in the same paragraphs. So that's essentially what we have here. And it's the same pledge documents, like I said, and it's clearly understood that certificates need to be in the state of Nevada and all the language has been covered, and it's the same as what it was 4 years ago.
Very good. Thank you. I had a question with respect to the intercreditor agreement. Can you give some details about how that would work if they're of the same level? So let's say, for example, there was some type of default as to one of them, say the Japanese instrument. How would that work practically?
My understanding of it is that they, if there is a default, it's a default that goes together and they all share the same interest in it. So if there's a default, both parties would come together at the same time. There wouldn't be someone leapfrogging in front of the other.
So a default of one is a default of either.
Right.
Okay, thank you for that clarity. This particular facility is for the Japanese, the project in Japan, correct? Could you speak to, or perhaps Mr. Polk could speak to the status of that? It looks to be about 4 years out. Want to give an update on the record of how that has been proceeding?
Sure, Chandler Pohl for the record. I have limited knowledge about the build. It's handled by our global development, although I know that they have come out of the ground with the building at this point. And I believe that there is a timeline for opening, and I don't know what date has been circulated by the leadership of the company, but I think you're right. It's about 4 years or so.
Okay, so on track.
Yeah.
What you say. Okay, very good. We had a bunch of questions that came in through the RUMP process and through RUMP memo. So I have no further questions about this. I support it. And I will turn it over to Member Sendall for her questions. Member Sendall.
Thank you. Yeah, I think what our materials generally propose is fall of 2030. So I'm assuming that sounds accurate to what you sort of stated on the record.
That sounds accurate.
Okay. And then just to confirm then, Ms. McGinnis, I think you stated this, the purpose of this this proposed transaction in the use is essentially collateral security purposes only.
Correct.
Okay.
And to match the collateral, so it's the same collateral that was in place with the Bank of
Before.
America, just so that everything is consistent.
And even back then, when the Bank of America previous request, it was for this same project.
Well, no, the Bank of America piece was a more of a general MGM in Resorts International refinancing, that they refinanced their debt with Bank of America at the time. And at the time they did that, then they added the pledges as a requirement. So we came forward for the pledge approvals.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I guess I did want to just briefly, if you wanted to just explain, you're also amending the order of registration through your request today, the application.
Yeah, well,
Right.
we're
Can you just
amending it
address
so
that?
that we could reflect the SMTU piece. And then there also was a reference to Nevada Property One being pledged, and the Nevada Property One interests were interests that came in with the acquisition of the Cosmopolitan, which happened after the pledge approvals. And when we came forward with the Cosmopolitan transaction, it was anticipated that it likely could be the case that you would need to pledge that equity. So we requested and got that approval. It turns out that at the end of the day, that was not required to be added. And so it never went into effect. The pledge never did. So we're just trying to clean that up by taking that out.
Thank you for putting that on the record. Yes, and I appreciate your responses to the previous questions we requested, and I have nothing further based on that information that was provided. So thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Before we turn it over, I just want to make sure, confirm for the record, we're dealing with draft number 1 dated 2/23/26. Is that accurate?
Yep, 2/23/26 draft 1. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Judge Asad.
Thank you, Chairman Dreitzer. You've covered everything pretty well. Agents Park and Tan, along with Deputy Chief Allen and Crowley, did a great job. It's very comprehensive, very thorough report. Nothing in here on it. It's pretty straightforward. You're just going to finance the Osaka project with this agreement. So I don't have any particular questions, and I'm in full support as well.
Very good. Thank you, Judge. With that, if there's nothing further on that particular item, Mr. McGinnis, we will turn it over to Mr. Pohl as to the salon.
Hi, Chandler Pohl for the record. So I'm here on behalf of Park MGM's gaming salon application that was submitted. Park MGM intends to use the salon because of the synergy that it finds itself in the location that it sits on the strip. There's a natural flow of individuals coming from T-Mobile, and as T-Mobile has held more events, Park MGM's appeal has grown to the point that Park MGM has decided to apply for a gaming salon, and the salon that they've applied for would be a private and a public salon, with the intention that majority of the time it would be used as a private salon.
Okay, could we just, in some ways, it's new ground, right? It's the first of its kind since the statute and reg have changed.
Correct.
So I just want to make a very careful record about what the intentions are. I understand that there'll be a private use and a public use. So if you could, in detail, let's start with the public use. What would that look like? What are you seeking by virtue of this application on the public side?
Yeah, so maybe a better background is that there's two uses for the salon. There's an overlay of a television-like studio that it cohabits the same space as the salon. And part of the background was our MGM Interactive team has believed that there is some interest in the gaming community for the recording of people's play for their enjoyment. And so in that salon environment, this will be the first one of its kind where in a public setting, the public could enter the space and game as per normal, and there would be an opportunity that the play could be recorded and shared with the people who have been playing in that public setting, should they want a copy. Much like you ride the roller coaster at New York, afterwards, you can buy a photo of yourself on the roller coaster. In this example, somebody'd come in and play and say, hey, I'd like to get a recording of my play, and that would just be a perk of this particular location. And then that would be the public setting. When it turned into a private salon, the same might apply, that we could offer filming in that space, and the camera and all the equipment, audio equipment, is all controlled by MGM, not by the patrons themselves, which is dissimilar to kind of what we see across the strip
With influencers and such.
Where they use their own equipment. And using own equipment for recording of slot machines is distinctly different on the demands for the operation of the casino, whereas if you are recording play at a table game, that's inherently more difficult for us as an operation. So that was the genesis of the idea of, there's a demand for recording of table game play, but if we remove the camera and the equipment from the individuals at the table and we are in control of it, it would not be dissimilar to the World Series of Poker or any other filmed event where there is a crew that is filming and then there are the patrons who are playing. And in the private salon, it would be per 5,200, there's an admission criteria, but due to the strong strength of MGM Resorts' operations of gaming salons at its other properties, Park MGM would plan to apply for the 5,200 sub-6 financial criteria waiver, should the application be approved. And that would allow Park MGM to have increased flexibility, especially if there was an influx of people from T-Mobile or elsewhere who would come in at a moment's notice. That would give us the flexibility to cater to them in a private setting, should the need arise.
So let's back up if we could. So in a public setting, public access as per normal.
Correct.
Will there ever be occasion where the filming will be for a specific piece of content or a show that will require the public patrons to sign a waiver?
So if there is filming going on while it's in public use, we would require that somebody signed the waiver of their likeness and image.
Consent.
Basically, yeah, we'd get their consent to be in that space. Much like if there was filming elsewhere on the property, there would be signs and notices up saying, if you're entering this part of the property, you may be filmed. In this case, we would know when filming was occurring, which is why we would want affirmative consent for anyone who would enter the space. Now, if somebody, you can see the room, see the activity going in the room without stepping into view of the camera. The public would be able to not, if they chose not to sign a consent form. And in our trial runs thus far, as we've operated in a public space, we have found that most people didn't want to be on camera. And so even the consent wasn't the issue. It was just that they particularly did not want to be on camera.
So if they decline to sign the consent, then they don't have access to certain aspects of the public salon at that point?
And unless the filming was turned off. If the filming was off, then there would be no consent required to be in that.
And it's my understanding for the record that there's ample precedent to that from the perspective of if you don't sign the consent, then then it's appropriate for the property to not allow you to have access to certain areas.
We believe so. We believe this is what's common practice when there is filming in a gaming property, where there is filming of live games, such as recording of poker tournaments and others that are being filmed. Those in the audience affirmatively give consent, and it might not be a written consent, but it would be a notice and an acceptance.
Right. And if they don't, then they exit. And just to get on the record with either the Attorney General or I see Chief Torgerson in the audience here, that is consistent with prior practice. I'd like to confirm that for the record.
I would defer to Chief Torgerson on that.
And again, Chief Torgerson, we're going to step through each of these pieces. But right now, the specific question is, Mr. Pohl has indicated that there's a public use, and that's understood. And that if someone declines to be on camera, that the property would then take the step of excluding the individual. And I wanted to confirm that that is consistent with current practice, just that point.
Understood. Chief Torgerson for the record. Yes, I concur. Typically, filming has been done in an open setting on the gaming floor, and it is usually stanchioned off to help control, the operations for the filming and the gaming operation itself. And with that being said, signage has been placed and people are notified. It's very transparent. What's interesting about this is this will be a dedicated area where filming regularly occurs. And so it will be branded that way as well. And I think that that would help with the transparency for the public and their choice, whether they choose to enter or not.
Okay, but again, this notion that if they decline, then their exclusion is permissible under public use.
I would say yes. That's been in our practice, because if people don't want to be filmed, then we've told them that and they make that choice and they can then move away, because we're not going to stop filming in a game operation. It's their choice, right?
Very good. And then to continue to make the record on the public side before we go to the private side, right? So you also have, per the diagrams that we've seen, monitors that would seem to allow even further opportunities for the public to have access, if not physical access, visual access to the salon and enhance their ability to see what's going on in there, correct?
Correct. There's actually two ways for somebody to watch. There's a doorway, which is fairly wide.
Sure.
And then there's a monitor that's been placed outside. And to our surprise, that monitor's been very successful in drawing people, where just as we've been doing the test film, people will come in and be like, oh, I recognize that particular person who's on the screen. And we say, well, you can step around and walk inside. And they say, no, I like this view better. And so they stand and watch the view on the monitor, even though if they took 2 steps over, they could enter or see with a direct line of sight.
Sure, but they're consistent with our
Yeah.
policy of allowing access. They can make that choice, but they have other options.
Yep.
So just so we're clear, again, because this is both a issue of first impression in many ways, and it's also case by case, right? It has its own unique attributes. So I want to just be clear for the record that we have already in this context discussed every possible public use that MGM would seek for the salon. Is that correct?
Correct.
Very good. And then moving over to the private salon side. Why don't you speak to that for a minute?
So the private salon side, this would be unique in the sense that most of the salons have doors. And if it's a private public salon, the requirement under a license condition is when it's private, the doors are closed. There's a sign that says this space is being used private or this space is being used as public. That sign does exist.
Right. And so just in the what I would call the ordinary use case for a private salon, you'd have the sign that says private salon, and then the the block, the curtain or whatever would then prevent public access, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And in this Park MGM gaming salon, the notion of doors has been replaced with the idea of a curtain.
Sure.
Because it's filming, and some people who enter that space for filming purposes may want to engage with the public, but not have the public engage directly with their gaming. So in that sense, the salon, the gaming itself that's happening in that salon would be private, but there would be an opportunity to engage with the audience who is viewing. Or alternatively, if the individual who was gaming did not want to engage with the public, the curtains could be closed. And then there would be essentially no difference between the solid door that has closed, much like at the other gaming salons across the valley.
Understood. So you, so that's basically two use cases within the private scenario. The normal use case and the one where the, you would seek exception for your patron to allow for individuals to come up to the stanchion and watch.
Right.
Even
And
though it's-
historically, the belief has always been, if you're in a private gaming salon, you want it to remain
Right.
private. We have found in some of our own research with the interactive team that there are some individuals who want to be able to have a private experience, but may want to engage with their fans, but not have the fans or other spectators directly engage with them while they are gaming.
Sure, but as a matter of public policy, really, you're doing, if they're entitled to the privacy of a private salon and they're basically giving back some of that privacy, that's a choice. And from my perspective, that's not a concern from a policy standpoint. They just choose to allow access that they otherwise wouldn't have to.
Right.
Yeah, and you'll seek an exception, a waiver for that.
Yes.
And the last question I had then, it's my understanding that from time to time you would seek to offer tournaments while the salon is in private mode. Can you talk about that, please?
Correct. So part of the run up, ramping up to testing this room and how it operates is to bring individuals in on an invitation only basis and say, hey, we would like to conduct a tournament, and the tournament will take place in the salon and invitation only. It's a private salon, and so somebody could come in and participate in their portion of the tournament. And then when their portion of the tournament was over, another invited guest could come into that private area and perform their portion of the tournament.
And in view of the regulation changes, we now can allow these tournaments to be held in a private salon. That would be your view.
I think under the 5200 sub 6, if there's a waiver granted for an alternative financial criteria, then yes, I believe that changes, that it would allow a tournament that's invitation only, essentially private gaming, to occur in a private salon.
Yeah, thank you. I
Yep.
wanted to establish that for the record and ask Chief to chime in on that as well.
Yes, I concur with that assessment.
Very good. So have we missed any potential use case for this?
No.
Okay, so I appreciate you walking us through that. It's first of its kind, so it definitely deserved that level of detail. And on the basis that we have indicated that those are the cases, and we have firmly established that those cases are consistent with the new reg and the statute and Nevada public policy, I am in support of your application.
Thank you.
Judge Assad.
Thank you, Chairman Dreitzer. Thank you for that explanation. It was very thorough. Have you applied for a waiver for the $20,000 requirement for this private salon?
Not yet. I believe under the regulation, the salon application has to be granted before the waiver application can be made. But as soon as should the application be granted, the waiver will be submitted.
But you already have salons.
We have the salons and we have the waiver for all the other salons, but the only ones that are approved are the pre-existing ones, and so we'd have to add this one to our current waiver.
In the other ones, there's no requirement for $20,000, right?
We applied for a waiver on those as well, and we were granted the waiver.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, I don't have any concerns. You've addressed everything as long as, you get the consents and regarding anybody's name, image, likeness, awareness, get a waiver. If they don't want to sign it, fine. You just black them out or don't film. You don't want to get sued. So I'm sure you're going to take all necessary precautions in that regard. So I'm in full support of this as well.
And thank you, Judge. I think it's important. People's privacy is of paramount importance. And so if somebody, we want to make sure everyone has notice and has given consent that their privacy is being respected.
Very good. Thank you very much, Member Sendall.
Thank you. And to add to that point, what about your employees that will be working potentially when they're on screen or being recorded, I should say? What's your process there?
All the employees who would be in that space will have been given or have granted their consent to be in that space and be filmed.
Okay, thank you. And you stated currently you're just seeking one gaming salon. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is there opportunity for growth for others? Is this enough? Are you looking to see how this turns out? Or could you share how many do you have on at some of your other properties? What's the range?
I'm
to
trying
this-
to remember off the
Yeah.
top of my head. MGM has maybe half a dozen. I think Cosmopolitan maybe has a handful as well. So having one salon may be unique in MGM Resorts' world. In this salon, there was a natural space to fit one salon. Should the salon be successful, there may be plans to request to have additional ones at Park MGM.
Got it. I was just curious, since it was just one. Can you confirm then what your proposed kind of game offerings will be and if there'll be a minimum wager proposed or how that'll work out?
So the minimum wager is going to be based on a lot of factors and mainly their patron factors. And the games offered are mainly going to be based on patron preference. So the Park MGM salon will be fairly unique that way in that since there is only one and we need to cater to a wide variety of people, that room may need to be changed out. Although currently the room is contains 3 tables, a baccarat, a blackjack, and roulette, I believe. But there would be room should somebody want to bring a slot in or any configuration.
I appreciate that. And my understanding is the room is already set up with a surveillance system.
I mean, I believe we need to have enforcement come out and do a final inspection. We needed to supplement some of our surveillance equipment and a review of the signage as well that's going to be hung per the license conditions.
So should this get approved, then you'll go through that process. And I'm sure there's a condition, I think a proposed condition associated with that. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. I know I might have asked it previously, but I just wanted, to the extent you can talk about it or kind of give some background on how you believe the salon will be used as far as how much it'll be public play versus private play, or just your general thoughts on that, to the extent you can share.
Yeah, so the Park MGM team believes that it's probably going to be a 70-30 split, 70% private, 30% public. If the television aspect of the salon takes off, then it may go more 90-10. It really depends because the Park MGM feels that this is a unique case, and so trying to predict its use, we have a strong indication that it would probably be 70-30, but it may move from that.
You mentioned that you did some research or thought that there's a demand for this at Park MGM. Can you just share what the scope of that? I don't know if you want to call it a test run or what you're referring to earlier when you're speaking to the chairman.
Right. So Park MGM kind of has its own, for lack of a better word, a vibe. And mainly because of its location on the Strip and its nexus to an event center like a T-Mobile, and T-Mobile caters to so many different types of audiences, either hockey or UFC or concerts, that there is a natural overflow that comes into the Park MGM either prior to or after an event. And so we think that there is a unique audience that will and has come through that Park MGM experience. And so this salon was designed to try to capture those type of audiences, whereas maybe another property may be more of a destination hospitality. Somebody arrives, stays for a period of time. Park MGM might be a bit more, they might come in after an event and then exit.
This is a kind of a novel kind of endeavor for a use of a salon in your mind is kind of what you're describing.
It will be different in its operation in that regard than the other historic salons that MGM Resorts has operated at the other properties.
What's your anticipated setup for having employees? Will there be like a dedicated staff then that will be trained specifically for working in this salon as far as surveillance and the employees that operate the games, or how will that go? Will there be special training?
The only special training really is for the broadcast booth team. And those are gaming registered employees, and they're the ones who operate cameras. There are multiple cameras in the room. And they're the troubleshooting team, and that's what makes this unique. Otherwise, it's the same versions of blackjack and baccarat and roulette that are dealt out on the casino floor, same games. So there's really no change in its operation.
Just as long as I guess they're okay with being recorded for video purposes, then they're good to work there. And it's the same. Okay. How are you marketing this? How do you intend to market this new opportunity or use of this private salon to this customer base that's going to be kind of differing coming in from?
The MGM Interactive team, in conjunction with Park MGM, is working on that, and they're going through some testing right now to make sure that the entire system kind of is cohesive and works seamlessly. And I think shortly they may begin to reach out. They've done some private reaching out right now to individuals who have expressed interest in filming on a casino floor. And since this is a unique opportunity to come in without having those individuals to bring their own equipment in, the feedback so far has been, hey, this is a great amenity. And it makes it fairly seamless for the operator and for the patron.
Well, that's great. And glad to see that you're kind of meeting demands and kind of taking on this new kind of, endeavor, if you will, and utilizing the new newly revised salon regulations.
Yes, it's been great.
I think those are all my questions addressing the salon use, and look forward to getting an update, assuming this gets approved on how operations are going later in the year. I don't have anything further, and thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Member Sendell. With that, I believe a motion is in order.
Wonderful. Chairman Dreitzer, I move to recommend approval of non-restricted agenda item number 3 as read into the record by Madam Secretary Rupert pursuant to the 63rd revised orders of registration draft number 1 dated February 23rd, 2026, and pursuant to the following conditions. For Park MGM, number 1, when the gaming salon is operated as private gaming, access to the gaming salon shall be restricted by a curtain or, upon the request of the patron, by a rope installed at the entrance. Number 2, when the gaming salon is operated as public gaming, the curtain to that gaming salon must remain open. Number 3, prior to the operation of the gaming salon, the entrance to the gaming salon must have signage that indicates the gaming salon is in public or in private use. Number 4, the surveillance system must be inspected and approved by the Nevada Gaming Control Board Enforcement Division within 60 days of issuance of the state gaming license and thereafter be maintained at or above the standard that is approved. Last, the number of gaming salons is limited to 1, and the number may not be increased without prior administrative approval of the Nevada Gaming Control Board Chair or the Chair's designee.
Thank you very much, Member Sendell.
Yes. Thank
Great,
you.
that's it?
Yeah.
Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sendall?
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Very good. With that, Madam Secretary, please read into the record non-restricted item number 4.
Non-restricted number 4 are the applications of Jackie Crum for finding of suitability and/or licensure as an officer or key executive as noted on the agenda.
Very good. Good afternoon, Ms. Zuckerberg.
Good afternoon, Chair Dreitzer, Member Assad, Member Sendall, Madam Secretary. For the record, I am Erica Okerberg. I am Nevada Gaming Counsel to the company. Here with me today is the applicant, Jackie Crum. She is a first-time applicant in Nevada, so I would like to ask her to share a little bit about her background and tell you about her current duties and responsibilities.
That would be good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Crum, welcome.
I should say good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chairman Dreitzer, Judge Assad, Member Sindel. I appreciate the opportunity to be before you this afternoon. By way of background, I was born and raised in South Africa until my family immigrated to Los Angeles in 1986. I earned my bachelor's degree at UC Santa Barbara in cultural anthropology, political science, international relations, and my JD from UCLA Law School. Following law school, I joined a law firm in Los Angeles, Glazer Weil, where I worked from 1999 until 2010. And one of my earliest assignments involved representing MGM in its acquisition of Mirage Resorts in 2000. So as a baby lawyer, I was put on a plane and sent to Las Vegas and told to stay there until the diligence process was over. That experience marked my first introduction into the gaming industry. And over the following decade, I focused primarily on corporate hospitality matters. In May of 2020, I was given the opportunity to join MGM in their development department and worked on gaming and non-gaming projects, both domestically as well as internationally. In 2013, I joined Wynn Resorts as the Vice President and General Counsel of their development wing. And almost immediately, I was put on a plane and sent to Massachusetts to assist with the licensing over there for Encore Boston Harbor. So I worked on that for a number of years until we opened Encore Boston Harbor in June 2019, where I became the General Counsel of Encore Boston Harbor. And then in December of 2024, I was promoted to Executive Vice President and General Counsel and Secretary of Wynn Resorts and relocated back here to Las Vegas. So on a personal note, I have an 18-year-old daughter who is finishing up her senior year in Massachusetts and waiting very patiently for her college decisions. I am not as patient. And after she graduates, my family will be relocating. They're looking forward to relocating back here. In my role as General Counsel, I oversee all legal and regulatory matters affecting the organization. I work very closely with executive leadership to provide legal guidance, manage risk, and help ensure adherence to applicable laws, regulations, and internal policies. In my role as Corporate Secretary, I spend a lot of time with the Board of Directors, management, and other key stakeholders. Outside of my professional responsibilities, I just finished my term as the co-chair of the Tiffany Circle, which is a division of the American Red Cross in Massachusetts. And I currently serve on the Board of Trustees for the International Association of Gaming Attorneys. Before concluding, I'd like to thank Agent Friedlander for her professionalism, her diligence, and her sense of humor throughout this entire process. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Very good. Ms. Crum, thank you very much for that background. It's appreciated. I wanted to ask you, with respect to your direct reports, how many do you have?
Oh, gosh. Direct reports, I'd say about 20.
Right. And so I knew it was a bigger number. So how do you manage across all of that, given, of course, the extensive areas of significant responsibility?
Sure. I actually meet with each of my direct reports weekly or biweekly. We have half an hour, 30 minutes, or an hour one-on-ones. I also meet with the group together. For better or worse, we're a small team overall. And I think everybody feels free to call me if there's an issue right away. And I think that's the easiest way to stay in contact with everybody on a regular basis. I also have weekly calls with our teams in the UAE and Macau and Boston. So keep in touch with them there, and London.
So that keeps you going around the clock.
It keeps my hours of operation are not consistent.
Right. Could you just very briefly speak to your role as heading up the sustainability area?
Sure. So quite some time ago, it was decided that given all the regulations around that particular area, that it would be good to make that part of the legal department team. So we have a very, very talented group that work in that department. It's headed up by Eric Hansen, who I also just recently promoted to have a head of our government relations team. And so we work very closely on government relations issues, both in the state as well as on the federal level. And he takes care of all of our energy and sustainability efforts globally.
Very good. I think your perspective is interesting in that you've had an extended tenure with WIN, albeit at different levels of responsibility. During that time, I think it's fair to say there's been significant amount of change at WIN, a fair amount of tumultuous change at various junctures. Can you offer a perspective on, in your time now, certainly you're at the pinnacle of the legal world there. Can you offer a perspective on the issues of culture of compliance as it pertains to WIN and how that has evolved and matured, say, over the last several years?
Right. So, going back to 2018, it was very different. Since 2018, we have an independent compliance committee. The compliance department as a whole has grown substantially. I feel incredibly lucky to have a very talented and experienced Chief Compliance Officer, Omar, who is joined here today.
I see Mr. Corey. Hello.
We also had an independent monitor for 5 years, and that monitor, came to every compliance committee, not every compliance committee meeting, but attended a lot of our compliance committee meetings, looked at all the documents that we submitted to the compliance committee, and really helped us revamp our entire program. Ellen Whittemore, my predecessor, did a substantial amount of work in terms of rewriting our entire compliance program with a compliance officer, and I give her a lot of the credit for that. I feel incredibly fortunate to have stepped into this position at this time, where a lot of that is behind us, and now it's my role alongside Omar to really make sure that we're maintaining our plan, that we're looking at it, that we're continuously poking it, looking at the risks that are coming up, looking at new risks. And so it's changed dramatically, and it's changed from our board. Our board is almost completely replaced from what it was in 2018, 2019, from our compliance committee and from our senior leadership.
Okay. Could you maybe speak then specifically for a minute about AML compliance?
Sure.
And the manner in which that has strengthened over the course of the last several years?
Yeah, for quite some time, our focus was on HR issues. So if you look at our compliance binders going back in the last, I'd say, 8 years, you'll see that for at least 5 of those years, we spent an inordinate amount of time on HR. Not to say that it shouldn't have, but that was the focus. After we entered the NPA, after we entered the settlement agreement here, a lot of that focus turned to AML, and we really looked into how to rebuild that program. And we have had risk assessments done. We have, we were very pleased with the results of those, but, as in every risk assessment, you get areas for improvement. And so we're very focused on doing those. Omar and his team have done a phenomenal job in not only looking at what the risk assessment came back with, but also looking at it internally and saying, what could we do better? How could we use technology to help? And really advancing it from that perspective. And Omar and I work very closely together. We speak daily. And I think the company is appropriately reestablishing its compliance based on AML and HR and other sectors more appropriately now.
On a day-to-day basis, how accessible are you, not only to your direct reports, but to, say, pretty much all employees as needed? And do you view, and if, depending on that answer, do you view that as an important aspect of what you do for you to keep your fingers on the pulse of what's going on, maybe well below the C-suite?
100%. I spend a lot of time trying to walk around the property. I spend a lot of time traveling to our other locations as well. I will tell you, people don't seem to have any issue calling me. They call me all the time. They send me emails. I get involved personally in some of the investigations that happen. I think that's important for people to know that I'm there. And that applies to entry-level people. I can tell you, I spent 3 hours on a call a couple of days ago with one of our entry-level workers from the UK office or the UK property. And I think they felt comfortable talking with me. And it's incredibly important to stay visible.
How would you deal with a situation where there was potentially a sentiment with your colleagues or even your superiors on the board where they felt a certain way about something, but you felt it necessary to inform them that that course of action is perhaps not the best way to go. How do you deal with that situation?
It's my job. So I'm Omar and I, that between us, our job is to try to work with the various departments to try to get the business initiatives moving forward. But it's also our job to say no and to know when to say no and when to put our foot down. We've done it. We'll continue to do it. I can't think of an occasion where, frankly, where I've said no and received pushback from our board or executive leadership.
Thank you for that. So I will say, having looked at your background, it's rather extensive, and you're certainly well qualified for this position. I will note that Agent Friedlander said that you were exemplary, and I never comment about the agent talking about the applicant, but in this case, I felt I should, because she made a point of saying that you were responsive and very polite and funny as well.
Thank you. I wouldn't say it was a great time, but I certainly learned more about my finances than I ever wanted to know.
It does tend to force you to put things in order.
It does.
Very good, very good. Well, we appreciate that, and I'm more than happy to support your application. I think that you do an excellent job over at WIN, and you are a key part of the team that has allowed WIN to emerge from where it's been over the last several years to the heights it's achieved now. And I look forward to seeing even bigger and better things, both for you as well as for WIN.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Judge Assad.
Thank you, Chairman Dreitzer. Ms. Crum, you're being much too humble. You didn't elaborate on your resume very much. You forgot to put in there that you were graduated summa cum laude from USC with a degree in anthropology and poli-sci. Then, and you initially relocated to the United States to escape political turmoil. I think that's important to note. You've risen through the ranks of the corporate structure and the C-suite level with amazing speed, and it's very well deserved according to all the information we have here. Your resume, your background, your CV is stellar. The JD degree from UCLA, it's no small feat. Very, very good accolades go there. And joining WIN, you were instrumental in obtaining the license for WIN in Encore, Boston. That was no small feat, given the circumstances surrounding Mr. WIN at the time. So, I mean, I could go on and on. So you're just being much too humble. So I'll speak on your behalf in that regard. I thought maybe you might be able to comment a little bit on, since you've broken the glass ceiling, shattered it, I might add, some advice maybe you might give to some women, young women who are in the gaming field who would like to pursue a position up in the C-suites.
Well, thank you, Judge Assad. First, I'd like to say I'm in very good company, including Erica, who's sitting right next to me. The first thing I'd say is when you break that glass ceiling, don't apologize for the noise. Sweep up the shards and immediately look down and make sure that there are no other ceilings below you. Some advice I would give to the women that work with me and is to know your worth and trust your intuition. Choose your circles very carefully. You can have allies, men and women, and just make sure you know who they are. Know you're going to fail, and that failing's okay, because we've all made mistakes. Set boundaries, and most importantly, I think, is take care of yourself. So we all tend to work too hard. We run ourselves into the ground, and I think at the end of the day, your health is what really gets you through.
Life's balances.
Right.
Balance work and play and life and family. Good advice. I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to your predecessor, Ms. Whittemore. She's an outstanding gaming executive. She's in the Gaming Hall of Fame. She's also shattered the glass ceiling, and she's just a perfect person for you to follow, but you've got some big shoes to fill there. She's a legend. She's an icon in the gaming industry, not just in Nevada, but throughout the country. And good luck trying to live up to those standards.
Thank you. I'll need it.
With regard to the issues of AML and compliance that you've touched upon, we get a lot of excuses during the last 3 years and all the companies that we've had to deal with that issue. And the common theme I see recurring quite a bit is that, well, we didn't know, that so-and-so was a bookie, or so-and-so is doing this and that, or so-and-so is fronting money from China through a loan shark here in the United States. And then they would deposit it, and then they would pay back the loan shark, and et cetera, et cetera. We didn't know. Well, the standard is not actual knowledge. The standard is, for me, is you should have known. So it's important that the compliance folks, and this goes on not just to the WIN or anything, but I mean, just in general to all compliance folks throughout the state, that you got to kind of think ahead of the curve and anticipate. What we see a lot is that, well, we didn't get the documents that we needed because we filed a SAR and we had suspicions of illegal activity or incomplete, financials, or the job that they listed, the employment, the businesses they owned didn't really match up. We couldn't verify this or verify that, but we're going to let them play anyways. That's a big mistake. If you filed a SAR or two and you haven't been able to verify and do your enhanced due diligence and provided a risk assessment level, and you're still letting that person play, that's not good. You're supposed to temporarily bar that person and ask for those records and documents. And that person, if they're legit, will come up with those records real fast. And if they can't come up with the records, then that speaks for itself. They probably are doing something nefarious. So the issues, I raise this so that going forward, companies don't come up with these excuses again that, well, we filed a SAR and we let them play because we were waiting on further documents. And sometimes it goes on for 30, 60, 90, 120 days. That's not the way to do it. The way to do it is you say, you have 30 days, sir, to provide us with W-2s, income tax returns, bank statements, verification of employment, verification of business documents, et cetera, et cetera. And if you don't, then I'm sorry, we're not going to let you play until we get those documents. So that's just kind of a word to the wise out there on how I look at AML and compliance committees and compliance officers and the excuses and all. And the excuses seem to run pretty similar from property to property. I don't know if they're using the same legal documents or what have you, or the same compliance plans. They all kind of look alike as well. But, we're trying to change that culture, what's been taking place in Nevada for many, many decades. And we have to do that to keep the federal government out of the proverbial tent. And it's just important and imperative that the compliance committees take a proactive approach and not a reactive approach. So anyways, that's my soapbox on that. So I'm more than thrilled to support your application. You're eminently qualified, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Judge Assad. Member Sendall.
Thank you. Thank you for your affirmative presentation. And congratulations on this role. I know you joined last year. I just want to confirm, so the Wynn Las Vegas and Encore Las Vegas, they have a combined amount of almost 13,000 employees, both part-time and full-time. Is that sound about right to you?
That's about right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's just it's a lot of people that you employ. I also noticed that you recently, or the Wynn purchased Wynn Mayfair in London. Can you tell us a little bit about how that's doing and how that's going, and any future plans of expansion or change to current operations?
Sure. So Wynn Mayfair is a tiny little crown jewel. It's really kind of two townhouses that are pushed together, and it's private gaming only, very small, members only. So it's doing really well. We've made modest changes there, not a ton of changes yet. It's really, what's really actually been very important to us is making sure that the team there knows that they're part of the WIN team and knows our culture, what we stand for, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So our focus has really been on that for now. And then I'm sure our WIN design and development would love to get in there at some point. We'll see what happens in the next couple of years.
I'm glad to hear that it's going well. I noticed that and thought it was unique when I was reading its description. And then I also noticed, I think last year you had Mr. Fertitta and 2 of the WIN children joined the board. And I just curious on what their level of involvement is. I believe they're just all passive.
They're all just passive shareholders.
Okay. And then you mentioned you were working as a lawyer in LA and you had the opportunity to do due diligence on the purchase of the Mirage property.
That's right.
So what was your general practice that you did in California, and then kind of what precipitated the move, or maybe I missed it, to work in like at MGM and then ultimately at WIN?
So the firm that I was with had represented MGM for a long time. And so when Mr. Kokorian was looking into acquiring Mirage Resorts, we were representing them in that acquisition. So what I was sent here to do was go through every single agreement that Mirage Resorts had ever entered into, which was really, really useful for me as a young lawyer, because I went through every CERC agreement, every employment agreement, every lease. So after that, we continued to do a lot of work for MGM, including the Mandalay acquisition as well. And then ultimately, when MGM had a position in-house, they asked if I would consider coming in.
Oh, that's great.
So,
And
yeah.
so because you enjoyed that work, you said, yeah,
Loved
no
the work.
problem, I'm leaving. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what precipitated, how long were you from MGM, then what precipitated the move to WIN?
Sure. So I was in their development division, and just between where the markets were at that particular juncture and the deals that we were working on, it was just seemed like the right time to make the move.
And my understanding is you took over for Miss Whittemore. And what was that transition period like? Or was there a steep learning or sharing of information? What was that process like?
Sure. So I'd worked with Ellen for a very long time. So she was able to prepare me very well for the role. She spent months just working with me, sharing what was on her plate. And then we had about 2 months overlapping in the office together. But, fortunately, knowing all the players, and all the entire executive team before I was put in that position, made the transition a pretty easy one for me.
Good. And then you've been licensed before a couple of times, I noticed, but this is your first time in Nevada.
That's right.
Is that correct? And then you mentioned briefly, I understand you have one-on-ones with your direct reports, but can you share a little bit about how much communication you have with your direct report? Is it Mr. Billings that you report to?
That's right.
Yeah. What's that relationship like?
I speak with him daily, multiple times a day.
Okay.
We're a very small office group. Omar is right next door to me. Mr. Billings is 2 doors down, and our CFO is right next door to me. So we spend a lot of time interacting, and information is shared quite widely among that team. So never feel out of the loop on anything.
And then I know you have, WIN has properties all over the world. So can you just share a little bit typically how much you're traveling and what that looks like, and kind of what a typical, like monthly, do you do that, or what does that look like for getting everywhere?
Typical is kind of a word that's not in my vocabulary right now,
Okay.
but having said that, I try to travel to Macau at least once a quarter. Same with the UAE. And WIN Mayfair was more often probably right now just because of the
It's new.
transition, but I'm hoping that would be once a quarter as well.
That's great.
And then Boston whenever I can get home.
Right. And congratulations. I'm sure you'll be happy with wherever your daughter hopefully will get in and go to school. But either way, I guess your family will move to Vegas then soon.
Either way, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's good. I noticed you're involved in some directorships, one being the AGA AGA. Can you tell us a little bit about, most of these are pretty recent. You joined most of these about a year ago. And are all of these sort of associated with your position at Win, or just happened that you happened to join these during that time?
I inherited a lot, so
Oh,
I
okay.
stepped into a lot of these based on my position. Yes, including the AGA.
Okay.
So-
And how much time, I noticed you receive no compensation and it lists 4 different kind of outside directorships positions that you hold. How much time commitment do these require from you?
Varies quite considerably. And depending on what issues are going on as well. The AGA, obviously I attend the meetings, but there are also some other issues going on in DC that we're working on. And so I've spent some time in DC on that. But it really varies. It could be as little as a quarterly meeting or a monthly meeting, and as much as a week in DC at a time.
That's great. Can you tell me about the Tiffany Circle Society of Women?
Yes, so it's a group of women who they have divisions all over the country, and the idea is to really inspire women in philanthropy, particularly through the Red Cross, to promote the workings of the Red Cross. It's a phenomenal organization. They meet in DC once a year. Clara Barton was the founder, and it's a great group of women and a good way to meet different women in different regions as well.
That's great. And then additionally, I know you're on the International Center of Responsible Gaming. Can you tell me a little bit about what that group is working on currently and your role as a member?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
Yes.
sure.
So that's a relatively new one. They changed their name about a couple of years ago. So
sorry, I'm not trying to trick you.
No. I appreciate that. So that's the research group.
Okay.
Yes. So I haven't actually done much with that organization.
Okay. Well, your report was very thorough and as the chairman stated, heard very, very good things about the ability, your work and working relationship with the investigator and agent on your file, and happy to support your application and wish you nothing but success and hopefully good news about your daughter's college applications.
Thank you. I will take any of that and all of that.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Very good. I appreciate that. With that, would either of my colleagues care to make a motion?
Yes, Chairman Dreitzer, I move to recommend approval of non-restricted agenda item number 4 as read into the record by Madam Secretary Rupert.
Thank you, Member Sendell. Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sendall?
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer?
Aye. The motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care of Omar, will you? All right.
With that, Madam Secretary, please read into the record non-restricted item number 6.
Non-restricted number 6 are the applications of Vladimira Mircheva for finding of suitability and or licensure as an officer, manager, and or director as noted on the agenda.
Very good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman Dreitzer, members Assad and Sendall, Madam Secretary Rupert, staff of the board, Dan Reeser with the law firm of Fenimore Craig, appearing with the applicant. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Mircheva and also Scott Andrus of the Jackson, Mississippi office of Bullock and Bingham, who has been admitted to practice by order of the chairman in this matter. And I am present given rump questions that might be of a corporate nature on corporate applications. So I'm going to be quiet and pass to Mr. Andrus.
Very good. Thank you very much. Welcome, Mr. Andrus.
Your microphone.
Good afternoon, Chair Dreitzer, members Sadal and Assad, Madam Secretary and the staff. Thank you for allowing me to appear before you today pursuant to Reg 10.050. I appear with today and I'm very pleased to introduce Ms. Vladimira Mircheva on her application for officer suitability and director and manager licensing in her various capacities with Bally's Corporation. Mr. Reeser, was pleased to endorse me to appear before you, and I thank him. We very much appreciate the professionalism and diligence of the entire Game Control Board staff in the investigation of Ms. Marcheva. And in particular, I thank Supervisor Moyle and Senior Agent Simpson. With the chair's leave, we have an affirmative presentation.
That would be fine. Thank you, Ms. Andrus.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Ms. Marcheva and a little bit about her background. Before you today in the commission is her individual application that was filed on May 9th of last year. She's requesting a finding of suitability as the CFO and Executive Vice President of Bally's Corporation in accordance with Commission Regulation 16.4103B. And she's also asking pursuant to Commission Regulation 15.58575 for findings of suitability as a manager of Bally's Management Group, LLC, and as an officer and director of Tropicana Las Vegas Hotel and Casino, Inc., and Tropicana Las Vegas Intermediate Holdings, Inc. Further, she seeks licensing as an officer and director of Tropicana Las Vegas, Inc., in accordance with Nevada Revised Statute 463.530, and as a manager of Premier Entertainment Tahoe, LLC, as required by Nevada Revised Statute 463.5735. All that being said, Ms. Marcheva was born in Sofia, Bulgaria. Her father is a retired chemist, and her mother, now deceased, was an engineer. She is a 1997 graduate of Colgate University in New York State, where she earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics and a minor in German. And she has resided in Manhattan ever since her graduation. She's a citizen of both Bulgaria and of the United States, and she speaks 5 languages. She's married to Bradley Bennett, and they have 2 children. Following her graduation, Ms. Marcheva began her career in investment banking as a vice president at Goldman Sachs, and then as a senior research analyst at Perella Weinberg. In 2015, she joined hedge fund Standard General as an investment professional. And in 2023, she was appointed as chief financial officer of the Queen Casino and Entertainment, Inc., which is a regional casino operator, majority owned by funds managed by Standard General. Upon last year's merger of Bally's Corporation with the Queen Casino and Entertainment, Ms. Marcheva was asked to join Bally's as its chief financial officer and executive vice president. Ms. Marcheva is also a member of the board of directors of Intralot SA. She has submitted licensing, suitability, or qualification applications in 21 gaming jurisdictions. She's been licensed thus far, found suitable or otherwise approved in Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Missouri, New Jersey, New South Wales, New York, and Rhode Island. And 11 of those applications remain in process and pending. We submit that Ms. Marcheva has satisfied the requirements of the aforementioned commission regulations and provisions of the Nevada Revised Statutes for licensing and findings of suitability as the chief financial officer and executive vice president of Bally's Corporation and her other positions as we've described today. We therefore request your recommendation to the commission that the commission grant her application. Of course, Ms. Marcheva is present and wishes to address the board and answer any questions that you may have today.
Very good. Thank you. Ms. Marcheva, welcome.
Thank you very much, Chairman Dreitzer, Member Sandell, Member Assad. Thank you very much for reviewing my application and seeing me this afternoon. I wanted to make one correction. I came to the United States in 1997 to attend college and graduated in 2001. So appreciate the additional 4 years to my age. So I want to give you a little bit more information about the role that I serve at Bally's. I am Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, so I oversee the finance functions of the company. Included in that is our financial reporting. So the Chief Accounting Officer reports to me, and I oversee our SEC filings and internal reporting as well. I also oversee the financial planning and analysis function, where we perform financial analysis in support of Bally's strategy. We prepare budgets and long-term financial models. The treasury function also falls under my responsibilities, and the treasurer is a direct report of mine, so that oversees, cash flows, tax function as well, and risk management. I am also responsible for our capital structure. I oversee, our debt obligations and various, compliance requirements that we have. I manage the relationship with our lenders and with capital markets. And I am also closely involved with the financial analysis and execution and strategy around both M&A transactions and financing transactions that we perform at Bally's. And with that, very happy to take your questions.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Marcheva. Mr. Andros, we appreciate that. I had questions in a couple of different areas. So given your background, I really would like to hear more about how you progressed to come into the gaming industry. You're a relatively, shall we say, newcomer to the gaming industry, a couple of years. Your prior roles at Perella Weinberg and Standard General, we don't have the information to suggest sort of how that training and preparation led towards a role for a CFO of Bally's. So if you could sort of start with from the beginning, I guess it looks like from 2009 forward. If you could give us some more background, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, I guess I kept my mic on. So out of college, I started in investment banking. I did a couple of years of work in investment banking, and then at Goldman Sachs, I was in a principal investing group. Subsequently, at Perella Weinberg, I was an analyst and an investment professional in what was a multi-strategy investment fund. And at Standard General, I was also in an investment principal role. So what that entails is a lot of financial analysis of various companies, as well as capital markets transactions. Day in and day out, I would look at, financial statements of companies, Ks, Qs, build models to project what cash flows may look like, whether these companies can serve as debt, what that debt might be worth, et cetera. I performed a lot of analysis on, various mergers that, these companies may do, their, capital markets, opportunities, et cetera. I also have, experience with restructuring. Some of the work that I did was on highly levered companies where there were, maybe, the restructurings, refinancings, et cetera. So, very close involvement with capital markets, whether it's bank loans or private credit or bond issuances, et cetera. So I'm very familiar with, again, capital markets and finance in general, and that's where I spend the majority of my career. To give you some additional background, so Standard General invested in the Queen Casino and Entertainment back in 2019, and I was the analyst at Standard General who covered the gaming industry. So I had looked at a number of gaming companies as an investor, and I was involved with the investment in Casino Queen from the very beginning. Where we purchased the debt of the company from its lenders. That debt had defaulted. We effectively did an out-of-court restructuring where we converted the debt into equity and purchased the equity from the ESOP. That was an ESOP-owned company. And then we also implemented several transactions. We purchased 2 more properties. We raised debt. We made the investment in Intralot that we ended up effectively doing a transaction with Intralot this past year through Bally's. So I was involved in this investment from its very inception and very closely involved. And so the opportunity arose to fully transition into a corporate position within the Queen Casino and Entertainment. And again, my experience and expertise with capital markets, with strategic transactions, and finance, was something that was value added to the team. And obviously, it's been a steep learning curve in terms of some of the other aspects of the job, in terms of, accounting and, treasury functions, et cetera. So I guess it's now been 2.5 years that I've been in this role and still learning a lot. But also have a great team of accountants and professionals who grew up in the corporate world that I work with.
Very good. Thank you. So certainly I appreciate you providing your background in terms of capital markets, raising debt, investment, analytics, and that side. Could you talk a little bit more, and you started to at the end there, about operational matters? You said you have a strong team. Maybe talk about your direct reports and how they address those issues, given the fact that you didn't have experience on that side of the job description.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have 8 direct reports. We have a chief accounting officer who has a long experience. She's been with the company for multiple years, and she's an accountant and grew up in that space. And so she's one of my direct reports, and she has a team of accountants that prepare the financial statements. I work very closely with her. We talk, on a daily basis. We work with our auditors together. And I provide review and oversight and strategy. So work closely with her. Another one of my direct reports is the treasurer and senior vice president of finance. So under his purview is the treasury function, so cash flow management, as well as risk management, et cetera. I work really closely with him. Again, I talk to him multiple times a day, and oversee the various flows of cash across the company. Another direct report of mine is the head of financial planning and analysis. So he works, he's very involved in our systems and kind of reporting packages, et cetera, as well as budgeting and kind of longer term financial planning and modeling. So again, that's somebody else that I work really closely with every day and review the work and go back and forth on various changes that we're making to whether it's the budget or the long-term model, et cetera. I have the head of procurement is also somebody who reports directly to me, but he works also very closely with the different businesses, casinos and resorts in particular. There is a PR head of PR who also reports directly to me. Again, less of a finance function, but the way we were structured, she reports to me. And we have a gentleman who focuses on, we've recently implemented Oracle, so that was one of his main responsibilities, but he's also kind of efficiency expert, and he reports directly to me as well. So I work closely with him. I probably don't talk to him every day, but probably once a week about the various initiatives that he's implementing across the businesses. There's also the VP of Finance for Casinos and Resorts, who reports both to me and to the president. And there is the head of Internal Audit and SOX Compliance, who reports directly to the board, but has a dotted line to me as well.
Would you say that upon the acquisition, the role, and then now you're in the new role of Bally's overall, that your areas of responsibility increased dramatically?
It did increase substantially, yes.
And so talk about that transition. I mean, you talked about the people there, and I appreciate that. But you went from the Queen Casino, which certainly had a size and it was acquired, and now to a much bigger entity with a whole lot going on, which I want to ask you about. But talk about that transition, that aspect of it.
Yeah. So I was fortunate to overlap with Marcus Glover, who was the previous CFO of the company. He stepped into a global operations role and has since moved on to other opportunities, but we did have a long overlap period, can't remember how many months, but at least 6 months. And so I benefited from, his guidance and experience. I, met with obviously all the various people that I work with on the team, and, really have relied on them to, keep me appraised and educate me in certain instances of all their various, responsibilities and processes. So certainly a steep learning curve. But again, I've worked very closely with my team, have spent a lot of time with them. And, again, my years of experience in finance have helped me, one, understand how, businesses work, and kind of what's, important in terms of driving those businesses, and also really, grasp various financial concepts and, financial statements and accounting analysis and so forth. So, again, it has been a steep learning curve, and it has been a lot of hard work, but I think I have a good grasp of what's going on at the organization. And, we're a good team that also, divides and conquers. And so I'm fortunate to work with the individuals that I work with.
What's your relationship with the person to whom you report directly?
So I report directly to the board.
Right.
Obviously Soo Kim is the chairman of Bally's Corporation, and I have worked with him for a long time, since I started at Standard General in 2015. So I do speak to him very frequently. I spend a good amount of time with the vice chairman as well, and obviously talk to the board. We have quarterly meetings, but we also have a lot of other ad hoc meetings. So I have a close relationship with all the members of the board. And I also work very closely with both the CEO and the president. The way Bally's is organized, Robeson Reeves is the CEO. He also manages the interactive business. And George Pepinier is the president, and he manages the casinos and resorts business. And so I work very closely with both of them as well, but I directly report to the board.
As a relatively new entrant in the gaming industry, can you give your perspective on the term culture of compliance and what that means, and how you use that in your day-to-day job in this entity?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, compliance is of paramount importance. Obviously, there is nothing that can destroy a business as quickly as making some kind of compromise with compliance, with, following the regulations. And so there is a very strong culture of that, both at the Queen and now at Bally's as well. I work very closely with Kim Barker, our general counsel, with Elia, who's our compliance officer. So anything that we do, we're guided by what are we meeting the regulatory requirements that we have? Do we are we doing things the right way? We as far as, for example, financing transactions or M&A transactions, we work closely with our regulators, obviously have relationships with, various regulatory councils. We check in with, the various jurisdictions, and again, want to make sure that we have that good relationship with the various states where we operate. So that's kind of at a corporate level. But there's also, a lot of training that we do, and that we make sure that, employees go through. To the extent that there's any issues, they, get immediately, raised to the appropriate level. So very much, focused on the culture of compliance, and I'm very, very cognizant of how important it is to the business.
I wanted to ask you, I guess, just if you could give us an update about what's going on at the Tropicana site from the perspective of Bally. And then I'll broaden the question beyond that. I'm not going to ask you about every single place, but to the extent that you can share, if you could provide the board an update about that side, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think back in September, Bally's announced the plans for the Tropicana site. The construction of the A Stadium is now in full swing, and again, the plan for that is to be completed for I think it's the 2028 baseball season, and you can see it all coming off the ground. And around that, Bally's has announced a plan to develop a retail, entertainment, and dining center that we think is going to be very attractive given the fantastic location that we have and kind of where it sits on the strip. We foresee one great opportunity for billboards and signage and advertising for various retailers, as well as an attractive shopping center that naturally is going to have a lot of foot traffic that will be driven by the A's. And so again, what we announced is that we are looking at eventually potentially having the two hotel towers with 3,000 rooms, 500,000 square feet of retail, entertainment, and dining space. We've engaged JLL to work on finding retail partners for the development. And we are also actively talking to potential partners for an entertainment venue. The focus and kind of the more immediate development is providing the infrastructure and the podium and all the kind of the ground or the foundation for the project. And so we're working on that, and again the priority is the retail and entertainment and dining center. But we're very excited about the project. Obviously have great location, and we think the partnership with the A's is going to bring natural traffic that will benefit and really grow our business.
Thank you.
Chair Dreitzer, we provided through Madam Secretary 6 pages from the land use application that was filed on February 3rd, which show the phasing and also shows renderings of the phasing just for your benefit. And those are non-public, those are public documents. There are no claim of privilege over.
Right. Mr. Rizzo, yeah, thank you. We received those and had a chance to briefly review them. So that in conjunction with your comments answers my question as to that. And I don't want to globetrot around the world, but certainly Bally's is pretty busy, be it Australia, New York, Chicago, and so on. Though I did want to ask you one question about Chicago, which I will at the end. From your perspective, you obviously have a great background when it comes to, strategic investment capital markets and such. What keeps you up at night when you have all these projects around you that you're trying to, in various instances, finance, get off the ground, get going? I mean, what concerns you, or what sort of challenges do you think you'll face based upon the fact that you are in so many jurisdictions doing so many things at once?
Probably all of the above. Sleep has been one of the challenges maybe over the last year, but no, we are obviously have a lot of very exciting projects and a lot of developments. And as projects progress, obviously, the certainty and the funding increases. Chicago, and there's actually a live webcam that shows the progress. We have, glass going on, the towers are rising. We're very, very actively constructing that and working with our landlord under the development agreement that was signed earlier in the year, as well as, funding the soft costs from our end. So that project is well underway. We're very excited about the opportunity in New York. We have so far, funded effectively the equity or a lot of the equity of the project ourselves with, various development costs as well as license fee payment, the acquisition of the location, et cetera. And we're actively working on, securing financing, be it construction loan or some other more bespoke type of financing there, and getting other partners. There's significant interest. It's a very exciting project, but yeah, we feel very highly confident in the success of that endeavor, given the economics. and the opportunity there. And, you know, similarly in Las Vegas, as we already talked about, we're actively engaged in, you know, finding partners and working with our landlord. There's obviously a capital commitment under an LOI there, which has only partially been funded. So, you know, again, we are excited about the projects. They're all, you know, have their own merit standalone, but I think also as a combined company, you know, make Bally's a very interesting proposition. Again, that's the investor in me speaking. So, you know, those are really kind of the major investments. You mentioned Australia. We're a minority shareholder there. We own 38% now that we've converted our loan. We have funded all our commitment there, and helping with, you know, turning operations around as well as compliance. But you know, I think what keeps me up at night is more the volume of work necessarily than you know, concerns. I should also mention, you know, as far as our capital structure, we obviously are levered. We had multiple transactions over the last year that have helped, you know, extend our maturities and reduce the amount of debt. We effectively merged with Intralot, the Greek lottery company. We merged our international interactive division with Intralot's lottery business, and we're now 58% owner of that publicly traded company. As part of that transaction, approximately 1.8 billion of cash came to Bally's Corporation, and so we used a substantial amount of that to pay down debt, as well as make some of the you know, payments for New York. And then in February, we did a refinancing where we issued new term loans with 5-year maturity and completely repaid our term loan B, which would have matured in 2028. And in addition to that, we extended the majority of our revolver to 2028. So, you know, which previously was maturing in 2026. So we've also actively, again, managed our capital structure and extending our maturities.
Very good. Well, I appreciate that, Ms. Marcheva. Thank you for walking me through those pieces of your background, as well as the current status of Bally and the projects in various areas. I think, of course, you have a very strong background when it comes to capital markets and things of that nature. And I appreciate the thoughtful ways in which you're filling that gap in as you are taking on such a large role. And it sounds like you have a very good team that can support you here as you continue to learn. And by all means, you seem to be incredibly capable. And, you know, I admire how quickly you've picked up on so much of what's going on, not only at Bally, but in the industry. And I think your statements today support that. So I am in support of your application and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Member Sendall.
Thank you. Thank you for your affirmative presentation and explaining kind of your role and transition. Just hearing you talk, you're like so smart. It's very impressed. And so I have to ask, I know you were born in Bulgaria, I believe. Why Colgate University and why did you come to America and stay, I guess? Kind of how did you get started in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer to why Colgate is because they gave me a full scholarship.
Yeah, great reason.
Unlike Miss Screw, who came escaping political turmoil, I was probably escaping economic turmoil. Back in '97, Bulgaria was going through hyperinflation. I think my parents were making the equivalent of $25 a month, and there wasn't great opportunity for, you know, young people to just get a good education and get a good life. So I applied to colleges in the US and again was very fortunate to get a full scholarship from Colgate. And that's what brought me to the US. And then I ended up working here and getting married. And so ended up making this my home.
So do you still have family back in Bulgaria?
Just my dad, but yes,
Okay.
And aunts and uncles. So I go maybe once every year or 2 years.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I was just curious. And I know the chairman kind of asked you already, the opportunity at Queen Casino that arose in 2023. It sounded like they asked you to come over. Is that what I heard correctly? Or what was?
Yeah, so the Casino Queen was majority owned by Standard General at the time. So, you know, Sue's perspective was I was already spending a lot of my time working on the Queen. And also I had a close relationship with the team that was running it. And so part of it was, you know, it makes sense for you to focus. And part of it was my interest in moving into a more corporate role and learning new things and embracing new challenges and kind of expanding my experience. So it was a combination of my interest and then kind of what made sense for the business given my close involvement with the company.
Got it. And then I understand with the acquisition and whatnot, and as you already walked through with the chairman, but one thing I wanted to ask, and I don't know if it's necessary in your role, or maybe it is, but do you have to travel for your work and your position, and how often, and what does that look like in a typical week or month?
Yeah, I am based in New York and do spend majority of my work days there. And I expect to stay in New York, you know, for personal reasons. Obviously, a lot of the work that we do and a lot of the meetings that we have are virtual, and I'm on Teams with my team all the time. I do travel to Rhode Island probably, you know, maybe once a week, every 2 months to, you know, see everybody in person. I've also, you know, been to Greece to, you know, kind of meet with the Interlot team there following the acquisition, London, where we have the international interactive business, and then various, you know, locations, you know, Mississippi, et cetera. So there has been, you know, some travel over the last year. Maybe it's 15 to 20% of my time I have been traveling. But you know, again, there's a lot of what we do or what I need to do. I do with my team on you know, virtual meetings.
Yeah, and that's great. I think I would say as technology allows, right, us to maybe
different
be
world
much
these
more efficient and not have to travel. And and in your role, I thought maybe you didn't have to that much. So that's good to hear. And lastly, I don't know if it came out exactly, but it sounds like you work a lot and you have a very stressful position. So what do you do to relieve stress or for hobbies? I have to ask. I noted, you know, you have a family and whatnot, and I know we all have to do that, but what do you do aside from that?
Well, yes, I do prioritize obviously spending time with my children. But I like to read, part of a book club that meets maybe once every month and a half. And you know, Orange Theory, which is a fitness
I
studio
know
open
that
in my
is.
building. So I've embraced that. I like to play tennis, go ski in the winter. But again, as Ms. Groom said, it's important to kind of keep a balance and keep yourself healthy and happy so that you could devote, you know, the energy and enthusiasm to the job that it requires.
Well, I think Bally's is very lucky to have you, and thank you for answering my questions. And I'm happy to support your application, and I wish you all the success and better sleep at night.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Member Sendell. Judge Assad.
Thank you, Chairman Dreitzer. Mr. Reeser, good to see you as always. Not used to seeing you sitting there silent. And Mr. Andrews, nice to meet you as well. Thank you for being here in person. I appreciate that. I'd like to start by commending you and congratulating you on also shattering the proverbial glass ceiling. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Ms. Crum. Any advice for young women who wish to move up into the ranks of the C-suites in the gaming industry per se?
It's very humbling to be in a position where I may be qualified to give advice. You know, I do think that a lot of it comes down to, you know, hard work and rolling up your sleeves and dedicating the time and the energy and the mind space. I think for women in particular, I would also say fight that imposter syndrome. You belong and you are qualified, and you know, I think there's sometimes forces that make you feel like you're less than, but I think you know, being cognizant of that and being mindful that what you bring to the table is is valuable, is something very important. And then something that speaks to the culture of compliance, but it's actually been something I've been guided by in my life, which is if there's something that you would not feel comfortable admitting, don't do it. And so for me, a lot of it is stand up to, own what you do and do the things that you're comfortable with. And growing up on Wall Street, a lot of the guidance has been, if you don't want it on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, don't do it. And so being, again, following the rules and being compliant and being able to, defend and stand up for what you do, I think is very important, and serves people well in the long term, not just women, but.
Thank you for that. I think that's great advice. Yeah, you're eminently qualified. All of the questions from my colleagues brought out everything I need to know. I don't have any further questions other than what are some of the other languages you speak?
I minored in German, so that one I used to speak fluently and now, shaky. But I've also studied Russian and Spanish.
Very
when I
good.
was younger, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, you're eminently qualified and I'm honored to approve your application.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you, Judge. With that, I believe we are in line for a motion.
Yes, Chairman Dreitzer, I move to recommend approval of non-restricted agenda item number 6 as read into the record by Madam Secretary Rupert.
Thank you, Member Sandal. Madam Secretary.
Member Assad,
Aye.
Member Sandal,
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer.
Aye. The motion passes. Thank you. Congratulations. Very good. With that, Madam Secretary, please read into the record non-restricted item number 8.
Non-restricted number 8 is the application of Edward Roski III for finding of suitability as an officer at Majestic Nevada, Inc.
Very good. Good afternoon, Mr. Giordano.
Good afternoon, Chairman Dreitzer, Member Judge Assad, Member Sandal, Madam Secretary. For the record, Greg Giordano, the law firm McDonald Carano, appearing on behalf of Majestic Nevada, Inc. and the applicant, Edward Roski III, or as he's known to his friends, family, and colleagues, Trey. His application, as Madam Secretary read, is for finding suitability as an officer, specifically Secretary Treasurer of Majestic Nevada, Inc. As you may know, Majestic Nevada, Inc. is a 10% member of Silverton Casino LLC, the operating entity, and it is owned 100% by one of Ed Roski's, Trey's father's gaming trust, which owns 100% of Majestic Nevada, Inc., and is also a 90% member of Silverton Casino LLC. This is Mr. Roski's first appearance for the board, so if you'd like, I can ask him to give you a brief description of his background, training experience, and we're happy to answer any questions after that.
Very good. Thank you very much and welcome, Mr. Roski.
Thank you. I'm a little shy on this public speaking thing, so I'll try my best.
Take your time. You're amongst friends.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't know how far back you want me to go, but I graduated Cal State Long Beach at real estate and finance. Been kind of in the real estate world with my dad from the beginning, since a little kid growing up. I guess, the first dive in other than being in Majestic and is construction. I worked construction for many years. We had a construction company, or we have a construction company, and did that, started at the ground, digging dirt and put behind walls and everything else. And then realized that I wanted to go into the office a little bit more and got into the property management side of things, and learn that side of things. And, towards I guess kind of at the end of college, decided I kind of wanted to break off a little bit and do my own thing, got into robotics, started a company. I built robots and a lot of engineering. Probably should have graduated in engineering, but my dad wanted me to do real estate. That's another story. Got into robotics and won championships for a while, a couple of years undefeated, and then started BattleBots, which is a nightly show here in Vegas now. Filmed my TV show here a few times, and then started a nightly show. We're about at our 700th show, And we just recently were renewed. We're on Caesar's property. Caesar's is our, whatever kind of, anyway, we're on their property. We're off Koval and Flamingo, and we do nightly shows there. And it's the best show in Vegas. It's not me just saying that. It's actually a really good show. It's about kids. It's about education. It's about getting kids into math and physics and science. I call it the Little League theory. You can't have Little League without pro baseball. You can't have pro baseball without Little League. Kids watch television, they watch a baseball game, they see a home run or whatever, they get inspired, want to play baseball. BattleBots is the television show behind that. I kind of, I think we're probably the reason for all the robotic educational programs in all the schools, because we are the TV show and the inspiration behind that. Being here in Vegas, more or less, for the last 5 years, kind of decided to dive into the casino since we have it there and learn that. I love learning. I love being educated and finding out how things work. And, that seemed to be the next step. So I've been there a lot. I spend usually Mondays, Sunday nights after the show, the BattleBot show here in Vegas, I'll go to LA. I'll stay there usually till about Thursday and then come back. Most of our shows here are Wednesday through Sunday, but I'm usually trying to go to as many shows as I can or be part of as many shows as I can. That's it in a nutshell. I am, learning the casino business. We've had, we started, Silverton started as Boomtown. And so we didn't know how to manage a casino or run a casino way back when. So we teamed up with Boomtown. We built the casino, and then, it changed for a few reasons into Silverton. And we redid it recently. We rebuilt all the rooms. We redid the pool. All the old school thinking we've kind of adjusted and changed. And but I'm kind of sitting there. I'm learning. I'm the conduit, I guess, between the management team at Silverton and my dad in Majestic, and kind of the one who brings everything to him and passes that stuff back and forth with everybody and signs off on things. And but for me, at this point, it's mostly a learning thing, and I'm trying to understand how it all works. And it's complicated. It's a lot of fun, actually. So.
Very good. Well, Mr. Rusky, we appreciate you being here, and you definitely have a fascinating background. But I want to start on the gaming side of things. You described your current position as you're learning a lot, which I appreciate. What do you see that going towards, right? With respect to the gaming industry, how involved are you going to be with the Silverton now versus where do you intend to take this? I have no idea what the future takes us, to be honest with you. But, my dad is 87 years old. He still drives himself to work every single day. He goes to work 7 days a week. He wakes up at 5 a.m, doesn't get home till 7 o'clock. He is doing deals today that won't be done for another 30 years in some cases. And it's just, being with him every day, it's been such a motivation just seeing, his energy and how much he loves business and real estate. And everything he's done is really real estate. If you look at it, the casinos, everything else that he's done is all based on real estate and how good he is at that, and the people around him, how great that is. But he is getting on, and he is the sole signer on everything when it comes to the final say of everything, the budgets and everything else. And so somebody needs to kind of dive into that. My older sister's kind of diving more into the actual real estate world of that's happening down in Los Angeles. And I'm kind of looking at the Vegas real estate / casino world is my kind of, overseeing. Nobody can do it all. So. So, but you see yourself having more and more of an operational role on the gaming side as time goes by?
Absolutely. And I assume that's going to happen sooner than later, if that makes sense.
That's it. No, you described gaming as interesting. Do you use a different part of your brain when you involved with the gaming side versus, robotics and battle bots and all that?
I have an interesting brain. It definitely works in things a little bit differently than most people. So yeah, I mean, I analyze things, and the gaming side is a little, it's a little confusing, to be honest with you. But I took a lot of psychiatry in college, and that part kind of intrigues me, to be honest with you.
Right. I have to ask you about BattleBots. I have two sons, one of which was familiar with the show and all of that. How did that start?
Well, it started as Robot Wars back in 1994. And I started as a competitor, and I built a middleweight robot because there were 4 weight classes and I didn't think I could build a heavyweight. Ended up winning the middleweight that year and beat all the heavyweights. So my little 80-pound robot beat 160-pound robots. Made the audience fell in love. They kept chanting our name and everything else, and it was kind of a weird scenario. She mentioned earlier about the newspaper and being in the newspaper, and my dad always said you never want to be in the newspaper. And I got in the Wall Street Journal that year. I got into a couple things, and it was all good. It was about winning this robotic competition, and so I said, "Look, Dad, this is a good one."
Right.
But yeah, in there's a little bit of a story in between that, but basically 1999, I started BattleBots and took that on, and we were the very first internet sports broadcast. Period. And we got picked up on television shortly thereafter, and been on Comedy Central for 5 seasons, ABC for 2, and Discovery for 8. And we now just got picked up for another 20 episodes for YouTube television. And we're very excited about that. Filming in April, so get your tickets.
Very good. Well, I can say that we appreciate your cooperation with the agents. There was certainly no areas of concern. I really appreciate your perspective, and I think you having a unique perspective that you can bring to the gaming industry, I think brings something interesting to the table, and I'll be very interested to watch as you progress in your learning curve and take more and more of a role. Be interesting to see what you do with that property. You think potentially you'll go to other gaming properties in Nevada, or is Silverton it?
Silverton has some dreams. I don't know if we want to disclose those at this point.
That's fine. I'm not asking you
Yeah,
to.
but Silverton is my main focus. I don't know if there'll be opportunity just to go to other properties, but BattleBots did have a slot machine, and there's definitely some gaming ideas that come up in my head, and I'd like to pursue those at some point and try to figure out some opportunity to make some fun games.
Well, very good. I appreciate your clearly have met your burden of suitability, and I wish you the best of luck moving forward. I'm happy to support your application.
Thank you.
Judge Assad.
Thank you, Chairman Dreitzer. Mr. Giordano, always good to see you. Nice to see you in person. Also, Mr. Roski, glad you could be here in person. I don't have too many questions. You have an very interesting background. You said that the gaming industry is sort of a mystery to you, or it's complicated.
I wouldn't say it's a mystery. It's just an interesting thing to do.
Complicated, you said?
It can be very complicated, yeah.
Let me simplify it for you.
Okay.
I was in the casino business in 1976 for almost a decade. And what the old timers used to tell me is just make sure they're not stealing from you. You'll do just fine. You'll make a lot of money. Just make sure you keep the thievery down to a bare minimum. The rest is simple. So your application is stellar, no problems with it whatsoever. There were no concerns, no areas of interest to go into, and our agent did a very good job of preparing us. So I'm happy to support your application.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judge Assad. Member Sindal.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and your affirmative presentation and your background. It's very interesting, and congratulations on all your success with BattleBots. I understand that you sort of started kind of with Majestic Realty mainly there and then kind of worked your way. Can you kind of describe your involvement with that aspect of the businesses and some of your job responsibilities? And kind of what I wanted to know is how do you you split your time between everything that you have on your plate currently and now becoming licensed? And as you mentioned, perhaps taking a more active role, perhaps in the Silverton. Could you just maybe?
So with Silverton, I spend probably 1 to up to maybe 4 days in the office. It kind of depends week by week what's happening. And I spend a fair amount of time down in LA. Try to spend at least 1 to 4 days down there too. It kind of depends again week by week. And then BattleBots is kind of an evening thing with the live show. There's a lot around the television aspects and the educational part of BattleBots that I do, mainly through Zooms or team meetings and things like that I can do from wherever I am. Majestic is kind of the same thing at this point, to a certain extent, where I spend a lot of time just sitting. I sit in Dad's office at the table right in that office, and just kind of as people come in, I kind of learn from that also, but also kind of direct and see what's happening and try to coordinate certain things around that. He's got over 500 partnerships, and it's hard to there's a lot to keep track of. So
Yeah, that was my curiosity in your role and how much time that took from your schedule and moving forward, and perhaps if you intended to maybe dedicate more of your time towards the Silverton or what that looked like.
as much as I can.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, my plan is to learn as much as I can, and I'm in just about every meeting I can be in the Silverton one way or another. If I'm not there in person, I'm on the Teams call, and they definitely set up Teams calls just for me to be at it.
Has that been a certain amount of time since you've been more involved, you would say, or just that's been that case that you've been more involved in Silverton for a few years? Or
It's been since I've been here in Vegas. I've been here about 5 years,
Okay.
more or less permanently, I would say. Lived at the Hyatt for 3 of them, and finally got a house.
Well, congratulations on getting a house.
Member Sindall, it might be fair to say that, really he'd probably take more of a part or somewhat of an ownership role next in Silverton before he takes any operational role. I think it's further down the road as far as any operational involvement. But before that, he may be involved in some sort of a change with respect to ownership. And that would be another, the next evolution of his positions with Nevada. It would be an application with respect to approval for some ownership role in Silverton before he comes in with any kind of role with the operations.
I appreciate that clarification, Mr. Giordano. And then I noticed a couple of years ago, you created Bots IQ Foundation. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Bots IQ was actually created a long time ago, and then it kind of started and stopped and started again. It was basically funded by me. We never really were able to raise much money for it, other than me kind of doing it. But it's BattleBots is about kids, and they're getting them inspired, and that's what Bots IQ was. We've got an entire curriculum we had made and kits and everything else to put on. Now we have a teamed up with ID Tech, which is the largest educational program for kids around the United States, and I think they're expanding worldwide, and we're their #1 class. And they do everything from 7 to 17-year-old kids. And they do these in colleges all over. In the summertime, they'll rent out Stanford or MIT and do daily classes, weekly classes, 2-week classes. And we created a curriculum with them that's unbelievable. It's a great thing, and it's really working.
Well, thank you for your commitment and time towards that.
Yeah.
I also noticed the materials. I wanted to add that you have your helicopter commercial pilot's license. How often do you fly? And then I know you gave helicopter tours. Are you still actively doing
Well,
that or?
yeah, I don't have time to really do the tours anymore. I still keep it kind of open up there because I do, some of the projects we'll get for a movie filming television thing or something. I like to do those. I fly every week to LA and back. So that's
Yourself then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my it's my psychiatrist is my helicopter. So that's where I get my little bit of break, to be honest with you.
Oh, good.
Been flying since 87 and there's thousands and thousands of hours and that's my peace of mind. So that's where I feel the safest and everything else. But yeah, I love doing tours up in Mammoth. It's the most beautiful place, to see from the air. It's amazing. You ever get up there?
Well, it was a joy to read through your materials and kind of learn your background and your involvement in different endeavors. Obviously, like BattleBots is really interesting and cool, and I'll definitely, I haven't seen it candidly, but I will. And I do have 3 young boys, so I'll make them watch it too. And then I'll report back to you.
It's funny how the other actors and magicians and everything else have all come to BattleBots. So I've made a lot of friends with all the other show people, Donny Osmond and the rest of them. They're all big BattleBots fans. There's a lot of secret fans out there, which is really
well. I look forward to watching it, and I'm happy to support your application. And I wish you best of luck in your involvement at Silverton as well. So thank you, Chairman.
Very good. Thank you, Member Sendall. I believe a motion is in order.
Yes, Chairman Dreitzer, I move to recommend approval of non-restricted agenda item number 8 as read in the record by Madam Secretary Rupert.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sendall?
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer?
Aye. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In closing, we wanted to thank Special Agent Brad Barnard for all his work on the application. Mr. Roski's investigation, he was wonderful to work with, very professional, and we want to thank him as well for his efforts in his investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giordano. We appreciate that. Very good. Very good. With that, Madam Secretary, please read into the record non-restricted number 9.
Non-restricted number 9 is the application of Boris Itkis for finding of suitability as a trustee at Yuri Itkis Gaming Trust 1993. And it is also the application of Anna Itkis for licensure as an officer at Fortunet, Inc.
Very good. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Mr. Geminiani, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman Dreitzer, Member Sendell, Judge Assad, and Madam Secretary. I'm Greg Geminiani from the law firm of Dickinson Wright, representing Boris Itkis in his application to be approved as a trustee of the Yuri Itkis Trust of 1993, and Anna Itkis in her application as an officer of Fortunet. The trust owns 100% of Fortunet. Fortunet is a licensed manufacturer, distributor, and mobile gaming systems operator. As you know, Boris has been with the company for over 35 years. He's been licensed before and serves as the president, secretary, treasurer, chief technical officer, and he's a director of Fortunet. As you know, Mr. Itkis was before the board in August of last year, following the death of his father, Yuri, and he received an initial approval for 2 years to act as the trustee for the gaming trust. And we're back because that investigation is now over, and we appreciate your support with the final approval. I'm also here with Mrs. Anna Itkis, who's applying to be approved as an officer of Fortunet. Mrs. Itkis has been with Fortunet for almost 2 decades. Prior to that, she was with Stations Casino as an auditor and also as a compliance auditor. Mrs. Itkis has an accounting and business degree from Cal State and has also studied business management at Branford University. She has a long history of service with the company and is really integral to its ongoing success. And we believe that her prior education, prior experience at Stations, and her longtime involvement at Fortunet make her a highly qualified officer for the company. Both Anna and Boris are with me today, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Giuliani. Certainly, we'll start with Mr. Itkis. Obviously, very well known to the board. We reviewed the application in depth and no areas of concern, and I have no concerns at all. I would ask you one question, Mr. Itkis. Could you give us a business update, how things are going for you at Fortunet?
It's been basically steady. I mean, we've grown a little bit in Nevada, like we are not providing some bingo stuff for what is it? Circus.
And new properties up north.
And new properties up north.
Very good. I appreciate that. And then, Ms. Itkus, this is your first time being licensed here?
Yes, this is my first time being licensing. I have worked with Fortunate for 18 years. Prior to Fortunate, I worked with Stations Casinos and Southwest Gas. Sorry. I wanted to thank agents Lane and Zen for their diligent work and appreciate your support with my application. I've been involved in all aspects of running the business. As a family business, it's very closely held. So I know probably more hands-on a little bit than with everything that's coming up.
Very good. I thank you for coming, and I know this is your first time being licensed. What was your perspective of the process?
Stressful. I've been hands-on in providing all the information, so it's been. But to be fair, I have known that licensing is part of our life since we've been married. So every single piece of paper had to be saved, checks, statements, and such. So it's been a process.
Last question for you. You've been now working with your husband in the family business now for a couple of decades. How has that business of Fortunate progressed over that period of time?
As Boris mentioned, we've been stable. We've been growing. I believe we were the initial electronic bingo provider in the state of Nevada or in general. So we have been stable and just gradually growing in all over the country. And in Nevada, I think we're probably the only business bingo provider for Nevada. Maybe there's one other property that's not a Fortunate property.
Very good. Well, I appreciate that you have both of you, obviously, but the combined half a century or more in the business. You know what you're doing. You've certainly proven that. And I'm happy to support your application. We thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Member Assad.
Thank you, thank you, Chairman Dreitzer. Excuse me. Mr. Jim Magnani, nice to see you, as always.
Nice to see you as well.
And thanks for being here in person, folks. I've read through the application. No problems, no concerns, no issues. So I'm happy to support your application as well, and I wish you all the best. Besides the bingo, are you into any other manufacturing?
We have done some slots for, I believe, Louisiana, but we're mostly concentrated on bingo.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to stay in your lane.
Yes.
Very good. Well, I wish you all the best. I'm happy to support your application.
Thank you very much, Judge Assad. Member Sindal.
Thank you. Yes, and nice to see you again, Mr. Itkus, and welcome, Ms. Itkus. Nice to see you, Mr. Diminani, again. About how many employees do you currently have?
We have 35 employees in Nevada and 43 employees nationwide, plus that's including one employee in Canada.
Okay. And where are your other employees outside of Nevada?
There's some in California, and then because we have various locations throughout the country, they're strategically located to service the different locations. There's some on the East Coast and some in Midwest.
Great. And can you tell me a little bit, what was your experience like working in audit at Stations Casinos?
Working in Stations Casinos was my first job in Nevada once I moved from California. And basically I got to learn everything from every single aspect of, from slots machine. I was able to audit as an internal auditor every single aspect of business, of gaming, from slot machines to bingo to race and sportsbook. So every aspect of a casino I was able to learn before I moved on to a different position.
That's great. And that, I'm sure, does that experience help you now in your role?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And then you've never been licensed before in Nevada?
No.
Okay. Have you been licensed? Have you had any other gaming license anywhere else?
No, I have not. Well, I have, as I've been given the position of Chief Administrative Officer, we have started licensing me in other jurisdictions: New York, Louisiana, Texas, and it's ongoing. As the applications get updated, I get licensed.
Gotcha. And then how many direct reports do you oversee, and kind of what does a typical week
It's
look like?
fluid because we are family run. We're a small family run, so everybody reports to me. Everybody reports to Boris. You know, we're constantly on. You know,
Yeah, 40, what did you say, 43 employees?
43
so-
employees, but yeah, well, I would say we just directly deal with the management team. So 5 or 6 employees directly address us and they have subordinates.
And are those individuals all here in Las Vegas?
All but one, yes. The other one is in Reno.
And then do you have like an audit function for your company then, or do you audit?
We hire BDO is our financial auditors, and they, you know, they maintain, check, make sure that we're GAAP compliant and such.
Gotcha. I noticed you both studied at UCLA. Was that just a coincidence?
No, I did not study at UCLA. I studied Cal State Northridge.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Then I must have just had that mixed up. Okay. And then you have 2 children, I understand. Do any of them plan to join the family business?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Well, our oldest is just graduating this year, and so she has to go out and learn the world before she can step into the role.
What did she study?
She's studying business administration with leadership development, and she's gonna go on to also get a master's in leadership development.
Gotcha. Well, I wish you all the best of luck, and I hope your business continues to flourish and the bingo gaming and other aspects of it.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to support your application today. Thank you, Chairman.
Very good. Thank you, Member Sendell. I believe a motion is in order.
Yes, Chairman Dreitzer, I move to recommend approval of non-restricted agenda item number 9 as read into the record by Madam Secretary Rupert.
Thank you, Member Sendell. Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sandal?
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer?
Aye. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you.
The court reporter has requested a 5-minute break.
Okay. Let's do that. We're going to get going here in a moment, please. I understand. Just best we can. Everybody ready? Very good. We are back. Madam Secretary, please read into the record non-restricted number 10.
Non-restricted number 10 are the applications by John Grant Lincoln and Charles Danner Skinner to pledge their membership interest in Strategic Gaming Management LLC to Wilmington Savings Fund Society, FSB, as administrative agent in conjunction with credit, security, and pledge agreements. It is also the applications of Strategic Gaming Management LLC and Strategic Management LLC doing business as Baldini Sports Casino to add or remove a condition. Lastly, you have the applications of Christopher Gump for licensure as a key employee as noted on the agenda.
Very good. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Mr. Bonner, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Madam Secretary. I'm Michael Bonner, the law firm of Greenberg Traurig, on behalf of Strategic Gaming Management. First, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for waiving the appearances of Grant Lincoln and Mr. Skinner. I want also to thank you for allowing Mr. Gump to appear, who is on the screen in front of us in Carson City. He's available for the latter part of the agenda item. You can probably sit down, Chris, at the moment, but we might be calling you momentarily. But he's in Carson City. I want to thank you for allowing him to appear in Carson City. I also want to introduce to my right, Mr. Matt Flattermeyer. Matt is the Chief Financial Officer for the company and is here for any questions you might have on the business. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I just have a few brief introductory comments and then we're ready to respond to any questions you might have.
That'd be fine. Thank you very much. Please proceed.
Well, thank you. And again, I want to note and thank the professionalism of Agent Ashlyn Burke, who conducted this investigation, and she was excellent to work with, as your team has always been, as well as the whole supervisory group at investigations. Mr. Chairman, this application is a pretty routine application and not too dissimilar, except much smaller than what you had at the beginning of the agenda. This is a request for permission to pledge the securities of Strategic Gaming Management held by both Mr. Lincoln and Mr. Danner as security for a credit facility that was acquired and closed in mid-October. In mid-October, the company acquired the Sunland Park Casino and Racetrack in Sunland Park, New Mexico. And as part of that acquisition, PIMCO, a group of bond funds that are well known internationally, provided a portion of the financing. And so this pledge instrument is part of the collateral package for that debt instrument. You've got the application in front of you with the loan documents. This is a very typical pledge facility document that has, subject to all the requirements and pre-requirements of the gaming authorities to exercise any of the remedies. But otherwise, it's quite typical from some of the pledge instruments you've seen. And the custodian is actually the same custodian that held the securities for a prior prior pledge that was approved by this body for the same properties. So with that, everything is in order as far as the credit facility. Everything is running routinely. The deal closed in mid-October, as you're aware. And frankly, with that, we have nothing else to offer. And when you're ready to asking questions of Mr. Gump, if you have any as the key employee item, we can certainly ask him to join the podium up in Carson City. So,
very good. I'm sorry, your name again?
Matthew Flandermeyer.
Matthew Flannemeyer.
Yes, sir.
Perhaps, Mr. Flannemeyer, if you could give us a little bit of background on the transaction in terms of acquiring Sunland Park Racetrack and what your intentions are for the property.
Sure. I joined basically the day they acquired the property. So background was they went through the diligence process. They liked the asset. It's basically one of the, I think it's 5 or 6 licenses that's in the state of New Mexico. Sunland Park basically is on the border of El Paso, Texas. So we liked the fact that we had an exclusive license. There should be no gaming in Texas, but there is one Indian tribe that's on the east side of El Paso. So there's 2 casinos in the market. We liked that opportunity. We thought we could add some value based on our team's knowledge and expertise. And so we closed in October, and we're starting to see the fruits of our operating that casino.
By and large, do you have any intentions to change the operations or maybe some renovations or anything of that nature?
I think we have various ideas each time we go down there, and we're just letting them marinate a bit while we decide, make sure we're making the right decision before we make a change, just for change's sake.
Very good. The application otherwise, to your point, Mr. Vaughn, I found to be straightforward. So I just wanted to have that background, so I appreciate that. Now, as to Mr. Gump, is it the case that upon approval of this application, he will be the key employee at 3 locations?
Mr. Chairman, yes, he's actually been approved by the board and commission previously in connection with the ownership of these properties. And then it's my understanding upon review by the board of I guess, an updated approach to making sure there was identified key employees that were attached to every specific location.
That's right.
We were directed and asked to have Mr. Gump apply. So he has added the applications for the 3 locations specifically, but he's already been before this board and commission and approved as such in connection with strategic gaming management. And so he is there in Carson City. I see him on the screen. I understand that the board did a updated investigation, that there were no issues of concern with respect to him as well.
That's right. I appreciate you putting that on the record, Mr. Bonner. Mr. Gump, could you describe your duties now that you have a expanding set of obligations across the properties? How do you manage all of it?
Hello, you. My duties remain the same as they were before, but I act as the general manager at Baldini's Casino, and then I oversee the operations in Big Wheel, Lovelock, and Big Wheel Battle Mountain. I have managers at each Big Wheel location that oversee the day-to-day staff. There's 6 total employees at each one of the Big Wheels. It's pretty small, simple, but streamlined operation.
Do you visit the locations on a regular basis?
Yeah, I'm physically there monthly and any other time that might be required, but it's about that often. And then available, we're constantly in contact with phone, email, text a lot for day-to-day stuff.
Very good. Okay, well, from my perspective, having reviewed the application, had a number of questions answered in RUMP, a number of additional questions answered today. I have no problem supporting this application. Again, I agree it's fairly routine, and I wish you the best of luck with this particular acquisition. I know the property well, and so it'd be interesting to see how that progresses. But you certainly have acquired a very good asset. So good luck to you, Judge Assad.
Thank you, Chairman Dreitzer. Mr. Bonner, good to see you again. I don't have any questions. Very straightforward. Special Agent Burke did a really fine job preparing us for this. It's very straightforward security interest deal. So I wish you all the best. I'm in full support of the application.
Very good. Thank you, Judge Assad, Member Sindall.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Bonner and Mr. Flandermeyer. I was kind of interested what led to that decision for the purchase. So good timing for you to join the company. I guess, in acquiring that?
Yes, it was a good time to join the company right after the transaction closed. So,
Didn't have to do, you just showed up and it was done deal.
yeah, yeah.
So, and then you get to just take over, smooth sailing, right?
Well, I get to take over the finances, but the operational side is the heavier lift.
Right, right. I did want to, and I appreciate all that background information, and I wish you best of luck with this new purchase that the company made. The was it Sunland Park Racetrack and Casino? Mr. Gump, I just wanted to ask how business was going at the three properties. The chairman, asked you how often you were there. So, and they're smaller locations. So, what is the normal foot traffic in and out of there, and how many people are you seeing?
Lovelock and Battle Mountain were both we're leasing space with Golden Gate Petroleum, so they're attached to a gas station. So a lot of our traffic is people stopping for gas. A lot of trucking traffic stop in when they're filling up and stop by. But it's definitely also a locals place, probably more so in Lovelock. Lovelock is even smaller than Battle Mountain is. And there's only a handful, 2 or 3 places in Lovelock where you can find a slot machine. So Lovelock it's a very cheers atmosphere. Everybody kind of knows everybody in town. And Battle Mountain, very similar. We have a group of locals that come in, but most of it is traffic of people coming through the gas station, either traveling or on their trucking routes.
That's great. And so overall then business is doing well or steady? How would you describe it? Yeah.
Overall it's doing well. It's very steady. So we're looking forward to 2026. I think we're going to do pretty good out there.
Well, that's great. And you're already licensed, as you stated, at the Baldini's property?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm happy to support your application. I understand that, I think, did we just touch upon, I think Mr. Bonner, you touched upon the proposed additional added condition to the Baldini's non-restricted license and the related removal. And you understand that?
We do, yes.
Okay, great. Well, I'm happy to support the application, and I wish the company the best of luck with its new purchase as well and continuing operations in rural Nevada and northern Nevada.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Member Sandell. With that, I think we are in shape for a motion.
Yes, Chairman Dreitzer, I move to recommend approval of non-restricted agenda item number 10 as read into the record by Madam Secretary Rupert, pursuant to the following conditions for Baldini Sports Casino. To add, a key employee application must be filed within 60 days of any change in the person occupying the position. And as for SGM's manufacturer, to remove the condition stating a key employee application must be filed within 60 days of this approval and thereafter be refiled within 60 days of a change in the person occupying that position.
Thank you, Member Sandell. Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sandell?
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer?
Aye. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Madam Secretary, please read in non-restricted item number 11.
Non-restricted number 11 is the application of William Hill Nevada 1 doing business as William Hill Race and Sportsbook, doing business at Hotel Nevada and Gambling Hall Racebook and Sportsbook, doing business at Hotel Nevada and Gambling Hall for a non-restricted gaming license, racebook and sports pool only.
Very good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I don't know if we have Ms. Bonneau on the video or not.
I don't see her at this moment.
Oh, okay.
Are you able to see me?
Oh, there she is.
Yes, there you are. Okay.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chair Dreitzer, Member Assad, Member Sandell, and Madam Secretary. It's a pleasure to be before you this afternoon. For the record, I'm Kelsey Bonneau with the law firm of McDonald Carano and serving as gaming counsel for William Hill Nevada 1 DBA William Hill Race and Sportsbook. Thank you again for your approval and allowing me to appear from New York via Zoom today. At the podium with you there is Dan Shapiro, Senior Vice President, Chief Development Officer of Caesars Digital, and Lisa Rankin, Vice President, Compliance and Licensing of Caesars Digital. William Hill's application before you today is for a non-restricted gaming license, racebook and sports pool only at Hotel Nevada and Gambling Hall in Ely, Nevada. Although the current agreement between the parties allows for 2 kiosks, initially this location will proceed with 1 kiosk, and should volume and demand support it, the parties will discuss adding that 2nd kiosk. This location will not be accepting pari-mutuel wagers. We received proposed standard conditions to be placed on William Hill's non-restricted license and have reviewed and approved those conditions. And with that, we would like to thank Agent Ryan Finnegan, Supervisor Eric Kaufman, and Deputy Chief Matt Doyle for their thoroughness on the application, and open the floor to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Banu. We appreciate that background. Mrs. Shapiro, for a number of years, this was deemed to be a property that, by their own statement, would not have been profitable to have a sports book. What changed from your perspective?
Yeah, so there's a bit of a history here with William Hill. So, and I go back with William Hill quite some time in the U.S. So William Hill actually had a kiosk in this location up until 2014. At that time, one of the owners, Mr. John Gahn, was starting a sports betting business and wanted to take over the sports betting operation. So at that time, I believe he got licensed to do the sports betting there, and they took a go at it. I believe they were taking bets live at the property. I'm not sure how long or they did that, but my understanding is just wasn't working out. So after a period of time without a sports book, they sort of went out looking for the amenity again. And so we had been talking to them over the years about getting back in. And then, we reached a deal to come back. And I think that what they realized is they saw the demand from their customers who go to the property for sports betting. They thought it'd be nice to have a self-service kiosk to service them.
So you've been in discussions with them over the years. I believe the last time they had it was 2019, right?
Yeah, so it's been out of there for a while. I believe discussions really picked up, sort of middle of last year about putting it back in. And I think they reached out to a number of parties to see if they're interested in it. We know the property, so we thought it'd be a good idea to get back in and work with the management team there.
So it's 2 kiosks?
So our intent is to start with one and see how the business goes, but we'd like to add 2 if the business warrants that there.
What's your view of the opportunities in the Ely market?
It's obviously a small market, but it is a stop, on the way up to Northeast Nevada and to Utah. So, we have some history there, so we know it's a good stop for folks. We know there's a popular fair there in the summer, the White Pine County Fair, so it brings folks up to that area. So it's always good to have a location or network where people can, make or cash bets and sign up for the mobile app and deposit money. So when they came asking if we were interested in coming back in, we said sure, let's give it a go.
Has anything per se changed that the market looks different than it did the last several years? Anything that we should be aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. Not too much I'm aware of. I think that obviously sports betting has grown quite a bit nationally since they last had it in 2019. So, people who pass through are used to being able to bet on sports legally around the country. So now they'll have that amenity at the property.
Very good. Thank you very much. I just wanted to have that understanding. It's a small property and definitely important that those areas of Nevada get as served as every other area. So I'm prepared to support the application.
Thank you.
Judge Assad.
Thank you, Chairman Dreiser. Ms. Banu, nice to see you on video.
Yes, nice to see you. Sorry I'm not there in person.
How's everything in New York?
It's beautiful sunny weather. The high's been like 66 degrees and it's just been an amazing week here.
Nice. Well, hurry back to Nevada. We miss you.
Thank you.
Mr. Shapiro, good to see you. Ms. Rankin, also good to see you as well. Very straightforward, no concerns, no issues. I was just curious as to who actually manufactures the kiosk. Is it IGT or who do you guys use?
Yeah, the kiosk box itself, we buy from Light and Wonder.
Light and Wonder, okay.
But the guts are ours, the software is ours. But we buy those from Light and Wonder. They come from overseas. And then we configure them, wrap them with our branding, and then deploy them out to the properties.
Oh, very good. And then the technology is your own?
It's all our proprietary platform.
Very good, very good. Excellent. Well, I'm also happy to support the application as well. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Judge Assad. Member Sindall.
Yeah, thank you for your affirmative presentation, Ms. Bonneau. You answered a lot of my questions. I might have missed it, but I wanted to confirm, when do you plan to begin operations, assuming you're
Yeah,
approved?
April 1st. April Fools is our target date to go live.
Great. So pretty soon, coming up for, I guess, most of March Madness, I guess.
Yeah, I think we'll
Sort
get in the Final Four, I think, there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no, yeah, right at the end.
Yep.
March Madness, yes. All right, well, I'm happy to support your application. I hope this location and bringing it back there is fruitful and successful, and I wish you all the best. I'm happy to support your application. And I think, as Ms. Bonneau stated, you understand that there are 5 related associated conditions with this item.
Yes, and I just want to add some clarification. I think the opening date may have been pushed to April 15th just due to City of Reno applications, but I could be wrong. Lisa?
Yes, you're thinking about the other property in Reno. This is the east one.
So this is perfect.
Your choices are April Fools or tax day. Pick one.
We'll go with April Fools on this one.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, so I have nothing further. It sounded like you said you did confirm and understand there's 5 related conditions.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
We have reviewed them and approved them. Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. Well, I'm happy to support the application. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. I believe we are ready for a motion.
Yeah, Chairman Dreitzer, I move to recommend approval of non-restricted agenda item number 11 as read into the record by Madam Secretary Rupert pursuant to the following conditions. Number 1, the surveillance system must be inspected and approved by the Nevada Gaming Control Board Enforcement Division within 60 days of issuance of the state gaming license and thereafter be maintained at or above the standard that has been approved. Number 2, any change in any agreement or the creation of any new agreement between William Hill, Nevada 1 and the license location must be reported to the board within 30 days of such change. Number 3, the licensee must comply with Nevada Gaming Commission Regulation 6.090 as it relates to the submission of an adequate internal control system in compliance with the minimum internal control standards for computerized racebook and sports pool. Number 4, prior to the commencement of computerized racebook and sports pool and/or pari-mutuel wagering pool operations, an executed reserve agreement must be received and approved by the Nevada Gaming Control Board Audit Division pursuant to Nevada Gaming Control Board Regulations 5.225 and Regulation 22.040. Last, prior administrative approval by the Nevada Gaming Control Board Chair or the Chair's designee is required for William Hill, Nevada 1 to convert a location from a kiosk-only operation to a manned satellite operation with or without a kiosk, or from a manned satellite operation with or without a kiosk to a kiosk-only operation. If any licensed location utilizes both a manned satellite operation and a kiosk, prior administrative approval of the Nevada Gaming Control Board Chair or the Chair's designee is required prior to closing for a period in excess of 180 days and reopening thereafter either the manned satellite operation or the kiosk. That is.
Thank you very much, Member Sindall. Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sindall?
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bonneau. With that, we'll turn quickly to our restricted agenda. We remain on the record. Our first item of business this afternoon is a consideration of the matters on our restricted consent agenda. The board's investigation agents have worked up details on each of these agenda items and reports have been submitted to the board members. No areas of concern or interest were uncovered during the investigations. And because I'm not aware of any questions or issues with any of these items, Appearances by the respective applicants were waived for this meeting. Madam Secretary, having said that, please read into the record the items on today's restricted consent agenda.
Restricted number 1 is the application of Nevada Restaurant Services, Inc., doing business as La Velita number 218 for a restricted gaming license. Restricted number 4 is the application for SGB Judge 2, Inc. to receive a percentage of gaming revenue from United Coin Machine Company, doing business as Century Gaming Technologies, doing business at 7-Eleven store number 29636. It is also the application of Amrit Pal Singh for licensure as a shareholder, director, and officer as noted on the agenda. Restricted number 5 is the application of Golden PT's Pub for Apache Pebble 89 LLC, doing business as PT's Pub for a waiver of the provisions of Nevada Gaming Commission Regulation 4.080 as noted on the agenda. Restricted number 6 is the application of United Coin Machine Company doing business as Century Gaming Technologies, doing business at Z Mark 5 for a restricted gaming license. Restricted number 7 is the application of United Coin Machine Company doing business as Century Gaming Technologies, doing business at Main Street Gas and Food Mart for a restricted gaming license. Restricted number 8 is the application of United Coin Machine Company doing business as Century Gaming Technologies, doing business at Circle K number 2709565 for a restricted gaming license. Restricted number 9 is the application of United Coin Machine Company doing business as Century Gaming Technologies, doing business at Circle K number 2709564 for a restricted gaming license. Restricted number 10 is the application of United Coin Machine Company doing business as Century Gaming Technologies, doing business at 7-Eleven store number 29767B for a restricted gaming license. Restricted number 11 is the application of United Coin Machine Company doing business as Century Gaming Technologies, doing business at 7-Eleven store number 41837A for a restricted gaming license. Restricted number 12 is the application of Golden Route Operations LLC, doing business as Golden Route Operations, doing business at the Willows of Henderson for a restricted gaming license. Restricted number 13 is the application of Stillwater Gaming LLC, doing business as Stillwater Gaming, doing business at Harmon Junction for a restricted gaming license.
Madam Secretary, thank you very much. Are there any discussions on these items?
None by me.
None by me, thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Would either of my colleagues care to make a motion?
I'll be glad to, Chairman Dreitzer. I move to recommend approval of restricted items 1 and 4 through 13 on the restricted consent agenda as read into the record by Madam Secretary pursuant to the following conditions. For restricted number 5, the waiver of the provisions of Nevada Gaming Commission Regulation 4.080 in conjunction with the approval granted in September 2025 shall expire on the date of the regularly scheduled Nevada Gaming Commission meeting in September 2026. For restricted number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, the surveillance system and/or mirrors must be inspected and approved by the Nevada Gaming Control Board Enforcement Division within 60 days of issuance of the state gaming license, and thereafter be maintained at or above the standard that is approved. For restricted number 12, the sign of appropriate size, which has been administratively approved by the Nevada Gaming Control Board Chair or the Chair's designee, must be at the entrance to the location indicating that the slot machines are available to the public to play and that patrons are not required to pay a cover charge to engage in gaming. That's it.
Very good. Thank you, Judge Assad. Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sandal?
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer?
Aye. The motion passes. With that, Madam Secretary, please read into the record restricted item number 2.
Restricted number 2 is the application for Three Peats Inc. to receive a percentage of gaming revenue from Sartini Gaming LLC, doing business at 7-Eleven store number 20272. It is also the application of Gurvinder Sandhu for licensure as a shareholder, director, and officer as noted on the agenda.
Thank you very much. Mr. Donato, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Madam Secretary, Jeff Donato. I'm an enrolled agent. Before we get started, just want to let you guys know I'm going through this cough. I get this cough I've been dealing with for the last 2 months. My wife sent me with a bag of cough drops and a water. So I'm going to try to make it through without coughing too much.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to provide a brief overview of the application, give the applicant an opportunity to review, to provide some background information about himself, and then we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. Please proceed.
This location is an existing convenience store known as 7-Eleven store number 20272D and located in City of Sparks at 1620 El Rancho Drive. On or about December 20th of 2019, Three Preets Inc., or the corporation, assumed the operations of the store, which currently has 4 slot machines. Mr. Sandhu is the sole shareholder, officer, and director of the corporation. Since the SRO of Golden Route Operations held and continues to hold the restricted gaming license, the gaming has been operating under a space lease agreement, and the corporation has only received space lease rent since assuming the operations of the store. If this application is approved, however, the space lease will convert to a share in revenue agreement, and the applicant will commence participating in the gaming revenue at the store under the SRO's gaming license. And with that, I'll have Mr. Sandhu provide some information about himself, and we appreciate you allowing him to appear from Carson City today.
Very good.
Mr. Sandhu.
You got through admirably, by the way, Mr. Donato.
Thank you.
Mr. Sandhu.
Good afternoon, board members. I appreciate the time you gave me to come here and represent myself and give you a little brief history of myself. My name is Gurvinder Sandhu. I'm a husband and father of 3 kids, youngest being 26. I was born in India and I came to the United States in 1981 with my parents. Lived in a small town, Yuba City, California, for 1 year. And then in 1982, moved to Sunnyvale, California, where I completed my elementary school and then my middle school. And then in 1985, we moved to Sacramento, California, where I completed my high school and then went to Los Rios Community College in Sacramento. Los Rios Community College District has 4 campuses: American River College, Cosumnes River College, Folsom Lake College, and also Sacramento City College. I was fortunate enough to go to all 3 of the campuses, and simply because when you go to one campus and if your classes are not available, you have the opportunity to take the same class at one of the other campuses. So between 1989 and 1992, I went to all 3 campuses to take my classes. In 1992, I had to stop going to college because my father needed help with his business. I helped with his family business, running liquor stores. So between 1992 to 2008, I worked for my father and then worked with my father, helping him run his businesses. In 2008, we were starting to have differences. And then I went back to school to get my nursing license. And then I went back to Los Rios Community College again, the 3 colleges I mentioned earlier, to take my prerequisites to get into the nursing school. In 2010, I was starting to have a falling out with my father where I did not want to work at his businesses anymore. So then I took a job in telecom industry, working for a company called Vinklums. I worked there for about a year, and then I went and worked for another company called Optima Networks, which was later bought by which was later bought by Mostek Network Solutions, where I currently work. And then around 2012, at the same time, there were differences between my father and my in-laws, which was affecting my relationship with my father, also affecting my relationship with my wife. And my father gave me an ultimatum to either come work for him, live under his roof, work for him, abide by his rules, or I had to leave the house and then be on my own. And I picked the latter. So I basically took my family and we moved out, and I went on my own. And I continued to work at Mostek Network Solutions up until 2019. I got promoted to being, I was then at that point the project manager at Mostek Network Solutions. And I had a business opportunity for supplemental income, which I took the opportunity of doing by becoming a franchisee with 7-Eleven and bought our store in Sparks, Nevada. At that point, I was basically working remotely from home as a project manager. But then after that, after I got the store, I had a home office in Sacramento as well as a home office in Reno. And I was going between the two places. 3 to 4 days I would spend in Sacramento, and 3 to 4 days I would be spending in Reno working out of my home offices. At the store, my wife, who also worked 30 to 40 hours at the store, helped me manage the stores. And then my son, who is the in-store manager in Reno at the store, he works 40 hours a week. He also resides in Reno. I also work 30 to 40 hours at the store for the days that I'm there, usually 3 to 4 days. Being that I'm the sole owner of this entity, I deal with all the major decisions that need to be happened, whether it's financial decisions or material decisions or business decisions that need to happen. They all go through me. At the store, my son, he runs day-to-day businesses. And then I talk to him every day via phone or video call or text messages. So I'm aware of everything that happens at the store. And if there's any issues that arise, then I address it accordingly. Or when I go to Reno, then I'll be at the store and then I address it then. I oversee all the financial business transactions that go through. I deal with all the operational reports that come through me. I review, and then if something needs to be addressed, I address it with my son, who then addresses with the managers, or who addresses with the employees, because all their employees report to him, and then both of the managers report directly to me. I also oversee the inventory audits that happen at the store, where I participate in prepping for it and then review the reports. Once the reports come in, then I have to look at it, see if there's any discrepancies, discuss it with my son, and then have him address it, or if I need to address it, I address it. If there's any meetings that need to happen with corporate officers from 7-Eleven, I'm the one who addresses them, whether it be that is via phone or they want to meet at the store. I meet up with them and I take care of that. I also oversee all the hiring and the termination of the employees. That is discussed with me before it happens. And then if there's any issues with customer relations or complaint, that is also brought to my attention, which is then reviewed and discussed with my son. And then I see how it needs to be addressed and then get that addressed and follow up with the customer complaint. Other than that, when I'm at the store, I help with ordering equipment or the material for the store. I help them do merchandising, customer relations at the store. I'm all involved in it. But that's basically my glimpse into my life and brief history of myself coming to the States.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you for that, Mr. Sandhu. Judge Assad, questions for Mr. Sandhu?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Dreiser. Thank you for appearing through video, Mr. Sandhu. You have a very compelling story, and want to congratulate you and commending you for living the American dream. Looks like you're doing very well, and you have a very interesting background, to say the least. It's a very straightforward application, nothing of concern, nothing of interest. You only have 4 machines, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You can have up to, 7, I guess, right? So you just don't have room for 3 more, is that it?
We will be making room in the future maybe, but currently we just have 4. It's pretty good gaming that we get out of the 4 machines.
All right, very good. Well, I'm happy to support your application. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Judge Assad. Member Sandal.
Thank you. And thank you for your affirmative presentation. You answered a lot of the questions that I had, so that was very helpful. I did want to just clarify a little bit. You mentioned your job at Mass Tech is in Sacramento. So that is why that requires you to travel back and forth from Reno to Roseville. Is that correct? And do you have any long-term plans to move permanently to Reno?
In the future, it might be. I also have ties back in Sacramento. My son is a doctor at UC Davis in Sacramento. So I also want to be close to him as much as I can. And then my daughter, she's married and she also lives in Sacramento. But they're also coming up here to visit us because they bought a store, a 7-Eleven in Truckee, so which is also helpful. But I still have sometimes, if the future beholds, I have a residence here in Reno too. I might be moving here as well, yes.
Okay, thank you for that. I didn't know that. Do you intend to purchase any more stores in the future and potentially have gaming if you do?
Right now, I'm kind of content with where I am. But only God knows what the future holds. Maybe down the line, something, a business decision might be needed to make, but right now I'm content where I am.
Okay, so no current plans. And you've never been licensed before in Nevada, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your background, and it looks like this is a true family business that you have as well with your wife and son that are involved. So glad to hear that's working out well and gives you time to spend with your family as well and run the business. And I'm happy to support your application, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
This is one quick question. So you have residences in both near Sacramento and in Reno?
Yes, sir.
So you live back and forth. Okay. I appreciate your presentation here today, and you're a self-made man, which I completely respect, and I am happy to support your application.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, I just want to let you know that Mr. Sandu did complete the restricted licensee gaming compliance seminar on February 24th of 2026. So that has been completed.
Thank you for that, Mr. Donato. And with that, I think we are ready for a motion.
Thank you, Chairman. I move to recommend approval of restricted item number 2 as read into the record by Madam Secretary.
Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sendall?
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer?
Aye. Motion passes. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Stay with Mr. Donato at the table. Madam Secretary, please read in restricted item number 3.
Restricted number 3 is the application for Kismet and Kerpa Inc. to receive a percentage of gaming revenue from United Coin Machine Company doing business as Century Gaming Technologies, doing business at 7-Eleven store number 26174D. It is also the application of Rupwant Singh for licensure as a shareholder, director, and officer as noted on the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Mr. Donato, welcome back.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Madam Secretary, Jeff Donato, enrolled agent. With me today is Mr. Singh, the applicant. With your permission, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to provide a brief overview of the application, give the applicant an opportunity to provide some information about himself, and then we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Please proceed.
This location is an existing convenience store known as 7-Eleven store number 26174D. Is located excuse me, in the city of North Las Vegas at 2325 North Las Vegas Boulevard. On or about June 25th of 2025, Kismet and Kerpa Inc. or the corporation assumed the operations of the store, which currently has 6 slot machines. Mr. Singh is the sole shareholder, officer, and director of the corporation. Since the SRO Century Gaming holds a restricted license, the gaming at the location has been operating under a space lease agreement. If this application is approved, however, that agreement will convert to a share in revenue and the applicant will commence sharing in revenue under the SRO's license. And with that, we'll have Mr. Singh provide some information about himself.
Very good. Welcome, Mr. Singh.
Thank you. Thank you. First, I want to thank you guys for all your time. Brief introduction. My name is Rupwant Singh. Can you guys hear me? Perfect. Rupwant Singh, I actually was born in India, at a town in Amritsar. When When I was 2 years old, I moved to Phillipsburg, New Jersey. My whole family had moved. It's a town literally 5 minutes from PA. For a year, I lived in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, then moved to a town called Easton, PA, into Easton, Pennsylvania. This is where I spent majority of my life till I turned 18. Easton, PA was my home. I played sports here, played basketball, soccer, and football there at high school. And after high school completed, I went to Drexel University. This is a different program than most colleges. It's a 5-year bachelor's program where you do 3 years of internship as well. Within those 3 years, the 5-year program, 3 years, I spent interning and co-oping at different companies, which was Hershey Company, JP Morgan, and Comcast. After graduation, I got a bachelor's in finance and moved to, with my connections at my internships, I got a job at Comcast Corporation. It was actually through a contractor company. So around 10 years, I worked at Comcast in the telecommunications side. We think of Comcast as cable, but they also have phones as well. So we work with enterprise companies to provide phone lines. So I was the TPM, or technical project manager and program manager, for the order management tool. So when people come in, we make the order management side of it. Worked there for around 10 years supporting that business. And then I moved to California. So I worked at Internet Brands after Comcast Corporations. Internet Brands, most people don't know, is a main company. Within it has WebMD and also Internet Brands. I worked for the Internet Brands site, which is more ratings on where you lived in an apartment itself. So I supported there, worked there for around 2.5 years or 3 years there, supporting the project management work there. And then shifted into Converso for 2 weeks. Converso is the same thing, voice platform there, supporting the technical project management side of the business. This was only for 2 weeks. My mom got ill. So I left that company and moved to Vegas for a brief stint to make sure my mom was okay. When she felt better, I moved back and joined TikTok, which is the last around 4 years working for TikTok USDS. USDS is a USDS sector of TikTok. It just recently got bought out by Oracle and other vendors there. So I've been working there for 4 years. I'll give you a brief what I do there, because it's major what I've been doing the last 4 years. I support the trust and safety space. This is to keep our users safe and kids safe. My enthusiasm, my sort of way of working is to make sure, how can I provide an impact to the community in the best way possible? So I actually work with law enforcement at Trust and Safety and USDS TikTok. So I work with law enforcement to make sure if something happens to a user, someone's live streaming, whatever it is, we make sure our law enforcement is informed. Any concerns that come up from NCMEC, where we report out child safety matters, we report to NCMEC. I support that side of the business. So I work with our internal teams as a program manager there, supporting end-to-end communication is done properly, our infrastructure is built out properly. So I've been doing that for 4 years there. The reason why I moved back to Vegas in the last 1.5 years, I've been living in Vegas full time. I do go back, I would say maybe once or twice, couple months. I just go back if there's business critical meetings there. And my last day at TikTok is the 21st of March. When they got bought out, there were requirements to be back in office for 5 days in the office, which I can't do. My mom, my dad, my sister, my brother-in-law, and my niece and nephew are all located here, which is why I want to be located in Vegas. To give more clarity of why I didn't look for a job in tech field in the Vegas area, I checked when I first moved here, there isn't much with my background history that supports that business. I want to take a step down, relearn everything from the gaming side, understand what the nuances are, which I don't have right now. It's either data centers or gaming, and I'm more in the trust and safety space or the voice sector, which we don't have. So which is why I bought the 7-Eleven. I have experience. My dad has a convenience store in the beginning when he worked there. So I definitely learned from his, he goes there and helps out some days. So I make sure I learn from his knowledge as well. So I've been doing that for since I got the store.
Anything further, Mr. Donato, or should we ask questions now?
Just want to put on the record again that Mr. Singh did attend the restricted licensee seminar on February 24th as well. And with that, we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Donato. Member Sindall.
Thank you, and thank you for your affirmative presentation and kind of explaining, a lot of the questions, from the materials and your background of why making this big change. So I understand it seems to be a family decision to live here, and hopefully Las Vegas's tech sector will boom soon, and who knows, you could get back into that too. But this is a great opportunity, as you said, you have some background in that. Do you have any intention then, assuming this goes well and it's successful on growing and purchasing more businesses?
For sure, I would want to, but for the first couple of years, I'm going to recoup the money I put in before the next one. So I definitely would want to do it in the future, but for currently in the projection of the year or so, not currently right now.
Got it. And I'm glad to hear you took the seminar and the course. I'm happy to support your application, and I wish you all the success and luck in your new endeavor and change in your careers.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you, Member Sandal. Judge Assad.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Dreitzer. Mr. Singh, nice to see you in person. Thanks for being here. And thanks and I want to commend you for a excellent business background and education at Drexel. It's a good university. And while you were in Philadelphia, did you become an Eagles fan?
I'm a diehard Eagles fan.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, still support my team from the East Coast.
I think Judge Silver will be very happy to hear that when you go before her next couple of weeks. No, this is a very straightforward application. There were no issues, no areas of concern, no derogatory information under the supervision of the great Julia Allen right there, and Deputy the Special Agent Joe Lombardo and Agent Partee. They've covered everything very, very well. Mr. Donato, good job as always, and I'm happy to support your application also.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you, Judge. Mr. Singh, it is really been a treat to hear your story, and it makes perfect sense. And one of our jobs, of course, is to license individuals and companies, and in doing so, encouraging individuals and companies to come to Nevada and to participate in our gaming industry. And given your background and your presentation today, I am delighted to support your application. And I am glad that you will be participating in the gaming industry. And I wish you best of luck with it.
Thank you so much.
And before I do that, are you familiar with the name Larry Holmes?
Yes, I am. We used to live 5 minutes away.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you know Easton really well.
Yes, former heavyweight champ.
Yep.
From East fighting out of Easton, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Very good. Delighted to support your application, and Mr. Donato, excited to give anything further?
No, I'd just like to thank Agent Partee for her work on this application, the prior application, Senior Agent Wilson for her work on that prior application.
Very good. I appreciate that. And with that, we're ready to take a motion.
Thank you, Chairman Dreitzer. I move to recommend approval of restricted item number 3 as read into the record by Madam Secretary.
Thank you very much, Judge. Madam Secretary.
Member Assad?
Aye.
Member Sandal?
Aye.
Chairman Dreitzer?
Aye, motion passes. Congratulations and best of luck.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Very good.
I hope you feel better, Mr. Donato.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Madam Secretary, this brings us to our last agenda item for the day, public comment.
This item is placed on the agenda to give the public an opportunity to comment on gaming-related matters. As stated at the time of the public comment section at the beginning of the meeting, anyone wishing to address the board may do so at this time. Comments by each person are limited to 3 minutes as a reasonable time, place, and manner restriction. If board members ask questions of the speaker, the time needed to address those questions will not count against the speaker's 3-minute time period. If speakers have any handouts or written copies of verbal comments to provide for the record, please hand them to the enforcement agent in the room.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Pursuant to state open meeting law, matters brought to the board's attention during public comment cannot be acted upon, but we are happy to hear comments from the public as well as my fellow board members during this public comment section of our agenda. With that, let's first go to Carson City. If there's anybody in Carson City wishing to make a public comment, please step forward to the podium. Seeing none, we'll turn to Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, if there's anyone wishing to make a public comment, please step forward to the podium. Seeing none, we will therefore close this as our public comment section of the meeting, thus concluding day 1 of the Nevada Gaming Control Board meeting for the month of March 2026. Thank you all for attending in person or virtually today. We are adjourned for today, and we'll pick up the remainder of our March 2026 agenda tomorrow, beginning promptly at 9 a.m. Thank you.